Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to the show, everybody. God, I'm so proud of that montage. That was so much fun making that montage. Welcome everybody in the chat. We have a fantastic show lined up today. Welcome to this, the second of our Canon film specials. We were so overwhelmed with the response to the first one that we just had to do more. And this time we thought we'd focus the conversation in a little bit more on something more specific, a specific set of movies. Today we're going to do the ninja movies, and specifically the ninja trilogy, and the 5 American ninja titles. And I don't think it's hyperbole to say that Canon defined and popularized the concept of ninjas and the ninja genre and created a craze for ninjas in the West. They really did that. And at least 2 of the movies in those 8 are in my top list of all-time favorite movies. That would be Revenge of the Ninja and American Ninja. But the others have all got some great stuff to talk about in them. And we have special guests, which I'm so excited about. So I'm actually more excited than Charles Bronson finding a rocket launcher. That's how excited I am.
And that's excitement.
That's excitement. So welcome everybody for being here. I will try and get to you all in the chat soon. Thank you for that. I see a few mods in the chat already. Thanks, guys, for being there. We're ready. Our good friend Christian Delorme has sent us a tip, which I will get to in a short while. Thank you for that, my friend. But let's get to our wonderful panel before we commence diving into the depths, the stealthy depths of the ninjas. First of all, I'd like to welcome a very big, special welcome to our wonderful friend who's going to be my matron of honor. I mean, maitre d' today, Mr. Tom Connors. How are you, sir? You're very quiet.
Good morning.
Aha, good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much for joining us. I know you're hugely into canon movies and movies in general. In fact, there's nothing you don't know.
Well, I'm glad we have a gentleman here with us today who actually wrote the book on it. When we talk about stuff, he literally did. So I'm more in awe of the fact that we have Austin with us today, a gentleman I was able to meet at least once before, and I've talked to a few times, but I can't wait to hear about his insight on all things canon today.
Indeed.
That we're gonna talk about.
We've hit the jackpot today with Austin. So Austin, well, let's get to Austin now. I was going to leave Austin for a very special intro at the end, but and of course, Tom, as everyone knows, if anyone doesn't know in the chat, Tom obviously is the main man for one of the main men.
Say, Andre's the boss man.
I know.
Yeah.
Andre's the boss. Midnight's Edge After Dark, Midnight's Edge 4K Physical Media, and Mead Radio. So if anyone doesn't know who Tom is, all the links are in the description. So go subscribe to all of those channels. Tom's brother from another mother. Brilliant guy. And thanks for being here and helping out, Tom. Appreciate it very much.
I'm not glad to be here.
Oh, indeed. So, yeah. So we'd like to welcome the first of our special guests today. It's second, because Tom's a special guest. Mr. Austin Trunick. Austin, my friend, how are you feeling today?
I am under the weather. I will admit, I'm actually running a fever. So yeah, if I start seeing things or saying really crazy things, it might make the show it might make my talking more fun and more interesting.
Well, I'm so very, very stoked that you could make it, my friend, because I've been reading for the Kindle copies. I'm waiting to get the physical copies of the Canon Film Guides, Volume 1 and 2. Let me just call those up on the screen right now, actually. Here we go. These books are incredible. I mean, I've got 8 pages of notes, but I might as well just have copied the text from the books, because if anyone's never seen these books before or heard of them, again, the links are in the description for where to find Austin. These books are just incredible. Volume 1 and 2 are out now, covering certain periods there, as you can see, 80 to 84, and Volume 2 is up to 1987. So, Austin, what inspired you to write these books?
Oh, well, first off, thanks for inviting me on here, Tom, and it's great to meet all of you. But yeah, gosh, I would say just growing up in the video store era, I did not have a movie theater nearby as a kid, so all of my entertainment came from going to the video store every Friday night or Saturday morning with my dad and mom and renting a stack of tapes. And in the canon days, in that time in the 80s and into the early 90s, you couldn't spin around without knocking canon movies off the shelves because they were everywhere. And I very specifically remember the box for Revenge of the Ninja. It's just a fantastic piece of artwork with this ninja sort of flying above a city. You don't know if he's dropped out of a helicopter or if he's shooting through the sky. There we go. He's fire. He's got fire.
He's as big as the city.
That's right.
He's throwing like multiple like ninja stars, or not ninja stars. He's throwing there, but just coming through the air like all at once. It's just, I remember seeing that box as a kid, like right at eye level, and just it burning its way into my brain. So when it got to, yeah.
No, sorry, mate. He's just destroyed a whole city block right there.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing that high in the air. It's baffling, but it's a great piece of artwork.
Yeah, and I think, as you mentioned there, many of us first experienced all these canon movies. I saw some at the cinema because I'm old enough, but most of them on the original VHS as they were intended to be seen.
Hmm.
I think.
I mean, that's where they made their money. That really, VHS and cable.
Yeah, and they were smart operators. They knew how to market. They knew how to sell. Many of these movies today, going to talk about the ninja movies, weren't even. They were adapted, and they were also going to be called something else, or they were sold under a different name, or they. You know all the details, of course. But here's your
Well, they like to pre-sell a lot of their films too. That was the big thing that they would do.
Yeah, and they would pre-sell them and then change the titles later, and
Right.
just incredible.
Sometimes they wouldn't even have the same star that they initially sold it with. For instance, sorry, go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, that was how they did it. And a lot of the time, the money when they were putting these movies to distributors, the bigger money was coming from in the U.S. HBOs, your premium channels, and the VHS distributors. Those were the people who were paying these movies. So a lot of these movies had to have a certain theatrical run, but people, I think, a lot of time they'll look at like Canon's box office numbers and be like, "How are they making all these movies?" They weren't making any cash at the box office, but it didn't matter because video, they had already cashed that check on the video.
Yeah, indeed. Well, anyway, yeah, just as I was showing on the screen your website, the links are in the description. Please, everybody, go and check out the Canon Film Guide. You can buy the physical copies. You can buy. I've got the Kindle copies right now. When's the third one coming out, Austin?
I got a lot of work to do. I can't promise any dates yet. I got a lot of work to do on that one still.
Well, I'm desperately looking forward to it, mate, and we very much appreciate you coming here to lend your expertise to us today. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now we have another extra special guest, who I'm so stoked. As I said before Razor got here, I'm like Charles Bronson finding a rocket launcher. I am so excited. Once again, we are joined by the magnificent Rageaholic himself, Razorfist. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, although I was killed in Death Wish 3.
Nice.
Nice.
If you gotta go, that's a good way.
Well, if you were a ninja, you could be reanimated, though. So
Exactly. Everyone, go check out Rageaholic Cinema Death Wish Month if you haven't watched it. It's still a group of my favorite videos we've ever done.
Oh, awesome stuff, sir. Yes, absolutely. We one of these days on this show as well. Now we've decided to do multiples of these. We may well get to the Charles Bronson special.
We have to do a Charles Bronson special.
Maybe the next one will be the Charles Bronson. I'm glad you could make it again, Razor. Thanks, buddy. I did want to. I mean, for anyone who's who would they be that wouldn't know who you were? But if they don't, obviously go subscribe to the Rageaholic. All the links are in the description. But I did want to talk to you very much today, mate, about the Night Vale novels. Well, first of all, I got to show my beautiful signed copy. You did such a great autograph in that one of the Long Moonlight. Look at that beautiful autograph.
Thank you.
I think you took extra care on that one, even though you didn't know.
Yeah, I signed the fuck out of my name. Shit.
That's right.
In fact, he threw away 3 books that he didn't like how it looked. So
that's right. So that's it. Book 1 of the Night Vale series, The Long Moonlight. But book 2 is out or coming out. I've actually ordered a copy from the Arkhaven comic site, which is where I got the first one. So
and they're being sent out now.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the series and about where Death Mask goes, the second book.
Oh yeah. Well, it's I'm basically writing a modern pulp, sort of a reinvention of old school 1930s, 40s pulp. So I combine my 2 favorite of the pulp genres, the sword and sorcery and fantasy of Robert E. Howard, and the noir of Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler and W.R. Burnett and people like that. So basically it's fantasy noir. And instead of following around a private detective and doing that whole cliche, we follow around a thief because he kind of moves in the same sort of Vane, as a private detective, he can be on the criminal side. He can sort of relate to cops a little bit. He has, whatever sort of connections in that regard. So yeah, it's kind of like a Fifi Marlowe kind of vibe to it. Which, by the way, they just teased a new Marlowe movie, which blows my mind.
Yeah,
right.
I saw that. Mm-hmm.
That's actually not bad casting, I think. I mean, that could work.
I mean, yeah, who else are you going to get nowadays with the fucking procession of sentient soy pods that inhabit the box office?
Exactly. But yeah, so anyway, everybody go please get the Long Moonlight, order Death Mask. I absolutely
One of the few
thoroughly
books I can
enjoyed it.
honestly say I'm excited for in the past couple of years of just like, oh shit, I gotta go get that.
Yeah, and these are quick reads. They're not like, but calling it a book is kind of charitable. It's a novella. They're both novellas. You put them together, it makes about a book length. But they're old school pulps were like short reads, really quick, really plot driven, action driven, kind of like canon films. And so they're meant to be kind of digestible that way. So.
Yeah, in a sense, the reason I like them is I'm into stealth games. I mean, you turned me on to the old Thief games, and Styx Shards of Darkness. You turned me onto that game. I love that game. I love stealth games, so I loved the Long Moonlight. I just love that sneaking around doing shit.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. The new one is probably a little bit more in the fantasy vein than in the noir vein.
Yeah.
Like if it's
okay,
all the stories are going to be different. They're going to be weighted a different way, right? Every single one's kind of going to stand on its own in a way. So this one's a little more on the sword and sorcery, sword and sandal, kind of Robert E. Howard side.
Yeah, well, that's great, and I love that stuff too. I'm a big fan of those as well. So thanks for talking about those, mate. Really appreciate it. And as I say, all links are in the description. So I just wanted to check in with the chat.
We lost Austin.
We've lost Austin. Yes, I didn't kick him out, so hopefully he'll come back.
He was having some connection issues. So
there you go.
There he is. Yeah,
he's back. He you don't get away that easily on this show.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
So before we go any further, just
release the hounds.
Yeah, I want to say hello to my regular panelists who I'm so glad are here again to do. So, Joe, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, man.
Good
doing
to
fantastic. Looking forward to checking out all these ninjas, especially the American ninjas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I have a question. Is it true that only a ninja can kill a ninja?
I would imagine so.
It's only a ninja can stop a ninja.
Stop a ninja. They don't
you can't really kill him, can you? Yeah.
Well, I'm just going by the fact that Franco Nero at the end of Enter the Ninja said, "Oh, we only kill when necessary," and then he goes off and slaughters 5,000 people. So,
even though ninja literally translate to assassin, yes.
Right. You didn't have to kill our guards.
That was why that movie Ninja Assassin triggers me so hard.
It's like assassin.
Assassin. Yes.
Wait, in Japan, is it called assassin ninja or?
That's right.
Who knows?
Ninja?
I don't even know if they released that in Japan. It's such a term.
Probably not.
So we'll get to that when we talk about Enter the Ninja, because we're going to go through each movie in turn. But also welcome my friend Imperitus. How are you, sir?
Doing all right.
Good.
Feeling a little under the weather today, as you notice, allergies or some such, which is weird being in New York in the middle of winter. I don't understand how that works. But
you and Austin have caught the same thing, I think.
No, I feel fine other than just sniffling like a madman, like I did, 8 kilos of Coke just 10 minutes before the show started.
Only
Which of course
8.
you did.
Only 8.
Self-report.
It's an amateur doing only 8.
Growing up in the 80s, if you didn't like anything with ninjas, there was something wrong with you because, going by movies and cartoons and TV shows, you think they're behind every tree. I mean, come on, even Lee Van Cleef was a ninja at one point.
He wasn't a ninja, but he killed one on TV.
In the suburb like we did, there was a ninja behind every tree because we were outside playing all day.
Well, yeah.
So that's a good point. I mean, the ninja overexposure, we probably get to that eventually, but they did. There was ninjas everywhere. In fact, Tom, what would your Ninja Turtle name be if you were a Ninja Turtle?
Me?
Yeah.
No,
think about it.
Common with Raph and Mike. That's the problem.
Right.
So
Venus de Milo.
Venus de Milo.
No!
That ninja.
Intravenous de Milo. Intravenous.
Don't you
de
ever
Milo.
say that name in my presence again.
Well, it's better than Jenica.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
don't
I
do
was
that.
gonna say
Oh,
it beats the fuck
don't
out
even
of
get me
Jenica.
started. Don't
Yeah.
even get me started.
I'd
You
also
know,
like
didn't they actually introduce Venus in the new Turtles comics that I stopped reading after issue 100 because I don't have brain damage?
They may have brought her back. I don't know. It doesn't matter now because after Last Ronin, as I was afraid of, they're spinning off with Turtles the Next Generation. It's like, no, we don't need another generation. We already got one.
Degeneration, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Actually,
like Ninja Turtles: The College Years.
Right?
Sander Hammerslag says Tomasino. I think that'll do.
That works for me.
So also welcome John Das Wolfen. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'd like to point out I am not an actual ninja.
You're not, because I was
Just
having
what a
trouble
ninja
seeing you.
would say.
You were a bit stealthy.
Right.
And our great friend Pope Metallicus. How are you, buddy?
Doing okay. A little under the weather, like everybody else seems to be this time of year.
I don't
So
know, I feel great.
Fuck all
computer
y'all.
virus is going around. I swear to God.
Yeah, Pope and Imperitus, and sometimes myself have also something we share with you, Razor, which is Mech Warrior 5. And
Yeah,
Mech
your stream
Warrior
Friday
games.
night was entertaining as hell.
Yeah, it was a great show.
You and
Friday
Taryn are
night.
welcome to drop in my lands anytime. I'll buy Taryn the best flea money can buy.
That sounds like the worst euphemism ever. You're welcome to drop in my lands anytime, big boy.
Drop on my lance anytime. Yeah.
No, the cool part with the new update with like the merc companies would be like being able to do PvP in somebody else's campaign, like drop your company in there.
That'd be neat. I still say it would be cool to have an extraction shooter that was built around BattleTech, because then you could kind of do that. You could do that kind of trolly stuff. You know, you could pop up and ruin somebody's day when they're in the middle of doing a merc contract or something, and then skedaddle. That'd be great.
Right, especially if like the names are hidden until the end of it. So it's like, these dick-ass mercenaries, and then it's your friend, just like, you son of a bitch.
I'm basically I'm proposing mech showdown basically at this point.
I can only get so erect. Please stop.
All right.
So just so to say hello to, I know there's a lot of people in the chat. Welcome to all. Christian Delorme tipped $3 Canadian, which is 3 bottle caps, 3 Nuka-Cola caps in real money.
That's old Milwaukee caps. Is what
for the dice. So Christian's a great friend of the channel, and I do stream with them sometimes. We do some our obscure It's Only Talk and Roll shows on artists like Chris Rea and people like that. We do the show together because you metalheads don't know about those guys. But yeah, welcome everybody. There's so many in there. We will try and get to you from time to time. My co-executive producer Darius is stuck in the chat somewhere because he says he's having trouble getting in. He usually takes care of showing the chats on the screen. So whereas I concentrate on corralling these people,
What's the problem?
And
What
Courtney's
do you
here.
mean,
Hi,
you
Courtney.
people?
What do you mean, you people?
Hi, everyone.
So let's talk ninja movies, canon ninja movies.
Hold on. We have to do the Chuck Norris from the Octagon thing.
All right.
Ninjas, but they're not supposed to be.
Chuck,
I love
Chuck-
the internal monologue on that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, it is amazing.
The
Some of the
Octagon,
best
yeah.
ninja clips.
I often get confused between that and the Pentagon, which is, of course, one of the later
the
canon
thing
movies.
you flew into. Yeah.
8.
Yeah, the
5?
Avenging Force,
little different.
Avenging Force, or that was the
Yes.
Pentagon, or was it the? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, internal. What is Chuck Norris's internal monologue like? I wonder.
Right. I don't know. It involves death though, and ninjas. I don't know.
So, Courtney, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
No, I had the maintenance guy coming to put together an exercise bike for my dad. So
All right. Okay.
I popped right back in, and then I got.
Well, I'm so glad you could make it
You're all
last.
good.
Thanks for being
Hi,
here.
everybody.
What's up, Courtney? Good to see you.
Nice to see you all.
So what I wanted to do was kind of run through some of the main players. Not everybody, because there's dozens of them, but the guys and girls that we know that were the big players in these movies. And by these movies, I mean the 3 that they call the trilogy, which are really only loosely connected, but that's canon. And American Ninja 1 through 5, even if 5 is the bastard stepchild that shouldn't really have been in there. So we'll start with this gentleman. This is Mike Stone. So what a guy Mike Stone is. I mean, the guy that broke Elvis's marriage up. I mean, that alone deserves extra credibility points, I have to say. So U.S. Army vet, martial arts expert. Am I right in saying, I mean, Razor and Tom and Austin, you might know better than me, was he the youngest ever world karate champion?
It kind of depends on the organization or whatever. That's the thing. This is during an era where full contact karate is kind of its own thing. And then there's underground fighting, which according to publicity releases is what Jean-Claude Van Damme was doing. And, you know what I mean? And then you had what Chuck Norris was doing, which is, kind of full contact karate tournaments that were sort of loosely sanctioned and sort of, that kind of thing. So it was a weird era for karate. It was sort of just becoming a thing in a weird way. Cause we're talking like what, late 70s, early 80s when this would have been happening, right?
Yeah. And he was, well, whatever. He was certainly a martial arts guy, but he was attempting to be a writer. He wrote what became Into the Ninja, although it was called Dance of Death. He called it, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So he was actually originally slated to star in it. That's him right here in the poster. That behind me. That's his eyes on the ninja behind Franco Nero, and it was originally his body here. Like they repainted it to have Franco Nero.
Franco Nero's legs could never do that.
Yeah, now that you say that, I can see the airbrush painting over his face.
The early print ads for it was Mike Stone doing this pose.
Yeah,
and they just repainted it for Franco.
So what happened with the actual Dance of Death concept? Did that get readapted as Enter the Ninja, or
it did? A lot of things that go through Menachem Golan at Canon get heavily rewritten. And Menachem directed Enter the Ninja, so he was rewriting it as they went. Really.
Now there's Mike sporting a great afro.
So what made Mike leave exactly, or what happened there? What came in between him and the crew?
Well, Menachem didn't think he could act. He didn't think he was a strong enough actor. So
Menachem says that must be real bad.
Yeah, and he ran into Franco Nero at a film festival, and so Franco was
which makes sense because at that time he was Django, so like you can cash in on that a little bit.
And Mike,
sorry, go ahead.
He stayed on, and he did a lot of choreography and things like he stayed through the production, so he didn't really take it too hard.
Yeah, he did end up.
Franco Nero at that time was starting to become a little bit more of an established actor in America, or maybe he was at the tail end of that kind of, because he did Django in the early mid 60s, right? Big vehicle for him. He did a bunch of Corbucci westerns after that, a few other spaghetti westerns. Then he did, what was that medieval movie that he did? Like Camelot or something like that?
Camelot.
Which was bigger, and that really established him in America. Then he started banging Vanessa Redgrave. And now he's kind of in Hollywood a little bit, even though he's Italian guy. So he was actually kind of established in America at this point, which is probably why they went with him.
Yeah, we're definitely going to... Well, I do have the... We'll skip past that, but there's Franco Nero. I mean, he had the genre chops. There's no doubt about it. I mean, with Django and various spaghetti westerns and other things. So he certainly had the genre chops. No martial arts skills, of course, but a well-known name.
Dreamy.
Yes, handsome guy, well-known name. I mean, also you think about Die Hard 2. You think John Wick 2, wasn't it? 240 film credits. Now at that time he didn't have a lot of those, but I guess he was seen in Menachem saw him in a cafe in Manila and said, "That's the guy."
Right.
Not Mike Stone.
You want to hear a great story about Franco Nero real quick?
Yeah,
he's
go for
talking. It's kind of a John Wayne story, actually, a little bit. Franco Nero's already done Django, and of course he's now established in America, as I mentioned. This is kind of during this period, and it's right before John Wayne dies. And John Wayne is at some kind of Oscar thing or something, and he's there for Vanessa Redgrave, who he's with, and they're milling around, chatting up and whatever. And John Wayne kind of walks up to him and is like, yeah, I've seen your stuff. It's pretty good. He's like, okay, yeah, whatever. And John Wayne goes, now let me ask you, when they ask you what horse you want in the Western, do you go with the small one or the big one? And he's like, well, the big one, of course. You want the most majestic animal. He's like, huge mistake. Get the small one. It makes you look bigger.
Right?
Oh, it's true.
Right.
Good point, yeah.
Brilliant story about Franco Nero. So ever since then, Franco Nero always picks the small horse. Anyway, sorry.
That's a fantastic story. He's
I can
right,
see
though.
John. I was waiting for John Wayne to say that.
Right?
Yeah.
Get off
I
your
loved him
horse.
in Die Hard 2 as Esperanza. I thought he was awesome.
What, John Wayne?
No,
just
this
kidding.
guy, man, Franco.
I'm
Nero.
gonna get you, John McClane, if it's the last thing
I
I
do.
do.
Hey,
Get off your horse and drink your milk.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to my co-executive producer, who still seems to be locked out of Melon, Darius Munchausen, for 5.
Is it because we have too many people in here?
No, I
or
don't think so. I've got the
something
pro
else? Okay.
version. We should be allowed 12 people, unless Darius counts as 4, in which case we're screwed. But yeah, Hail, my brother, seemed to be unmelonable today, but I'll bring up and hold down the back end. Well, you bring up the rear if you wish, my friend. Thank you for the donation, and we hope you can work your way in here soon. So yeah, the Mike Stone, and he got his chance in American Ninja 2 to play the baddie. So he was back. He may have been
Look at that
edged
fro,
out.
though. Holy
Look
shit.
at that
Telling
fro.
you.
He could
70s.
He could have been in an Electric Light Orchestra with that.
Look at her
fro.
jacket.
Big lapels and everything. Yep.
But the man who broke Elvis's marriage up. I mean, what can you say?
Wow.
The balls on this guy.
Hey, man.
So another key guy in the whole saga, Ninja Saga, is Canon's major go-to director.
Pretty
I think,
boy.
Sam.
Oh, you're talking about the
Thurston.
director. Okay.
Talking about
sorry.
the director, Sam.
What do you think the
Furstenberg.
photographer said there? Now, Mike, go ahead and smolder for me, buddy. Just real quick.
He was
And he's
No matter
like,
what he
"I am
says."
gonna smolder like a motherfucker.
he was smoldering so much the canvas was set on fire on the truck.
I gotta imagine the women and the crew and stuff were just fawning over him. Though.
I know the dew point must have raised by like 5 points.
But Sam was the major go-to, one of the major go-to directors. I think he said that him and J. Lee Thompson and Tobe Hooper and somebody else formed a little club in the offices. They were the go-to guys. He did 8. I think, is that right, Austin? He did 8, directed 8 Canon movies,
That sounds right.
as well as a ton of other genre stuff, and heavily involved with, well, he did Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3, The Dominator. He did American Ninjas 1 and 2. So major player in these, and 2 of those are two of my favorites. So still active today. I don't think he directs much, but he's still alive and with us, which is great, Franco Nero, we talked about it, isn't one of the players, but
Sorry.
the key guys, and we'll talk about a lot when we get to the movies, is our man Sho Kosugi, genuine Japanese superstar. Wasn't a superstar till this, of course. This made him a star, and look at that pose.
What Bruce Lee was to the kung fu movies, this dude was to the ninja movies, like 100%.
Oh yeah.
He's the ninja Bruce Lee. And he has some martial arts bona fides and whatnot. You're always rolling the dice on him what the dub is going to be like. Right? Because they're always going to have to dub over his voice, because it's kind of like the guy who played Tatsu in Ninja Turtles. He was in a lot of movies around this time too. Right, I forget what the guy's name is, and I remember watching Ninja Turtles and thinking, why'd they dub over his voice? That's not his real voice. And then I watched Showdown in Little Tokyo, And he actually he's not dubbed and he has speaking lines, and I'm like, that's why. Okay, gotcha. Okay, he sounds like a water filter salesman and not like Alex Jones.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, these movies made him a star. He went on to make several other fantastic ones, Pray for Death, whatever. We'll talk about some of those again later, I'm sure. But the villain in the first one, of course, or one of the villains, not even necessarily the main villain, but great choreographer and double stunt guy as well. Although how he worked with guys like Stephen Lambert, I wasn't quite sure who did what in these movies. You know, when Lambert was doing fight choreography, what was Kasugi doing? Did he do his own stuff?
Yeah, one of the things that I love watching in these movies, especially in the if you watch in Revenge, all of the red ninjas that attack at the beginning, or the big attack scene, like the fight scene in the beginning of Enter the Ninja, most of those ninjas are played by Steve Lambert and Sho Kasugi, and it's just them at different angles over and over again. They play like 20 ninjas in those scenes, and
being canon, they probably only got.
Oh, sorry.
I
love
go ahead, mate.
The multicolored ninjas, the G.I. Joe trope. I love that. Like they're gonna blend in with red shadows or something. I just love that. But anyway.
Yeah, and I love this is the Dominator with the eye patch. It's I wonder if they got paid for one role, or if they did 20 roles, if they got paid for 20.
Probably got paid as stunt players otherwise.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like they probably got paid peanuts for the first one.
Or no one Golden Globus. Yeah, you're probably right. Like,
well, Austin, one of the funny things in your book is when you talk about the peanuts, but Michael Dudikoff asked for twice the amount of peanuts.
Yeah. Well, Steve Lambert, one of the reasons he got his jobs as a stunt coordinator is they wouldn't have to hire a bunch of stuntmen. Like Steve's like, I'll do most of the stunts myself.
There you go.
That's how he got his job, because
including the women.
2-for-1 special,
which you could do in those days. So we'll definitely be talking about Show a lot later, because we're going to go through each movie one by one.
Well, going through the early years of canon now, correct me if I'm wrong, please, Austin. Wouldn't the American Ninja movies, up to a point, be like their probably most successful films outside of the Death Wish movies at that point? Probably in the early part of the 80s, I would imagine.
Well, the first American Ninja did pretty well for them, but
I was going to say,
their biggest hits were surprisingly Missing in Action and Breakin'. Like
that's right. I forgot about Breakin'. Duh. Totally spaced that out. We talked about that last time too.
Well, Missing in Action had that Rambo appeal, right? Well, pre-Rambo appeal.
It predated Rambo, actually.
Yeah, it predated it. But it was, you could see why that would be so huge, right? It had the same appeal.
Yeah, and I didn't think about Invasion USA too. When did that one come out?
Yeah, that was
Invasion USA. I don't know how successful it got a sequel, so it must have been relatively successful.
It was number one at the box office when it opened. So it was one of Canada's few number ones.
Wasn't Invasion USA originally meant to be American Ninja, but there was no ninjas in it, so that even canon couldn't get away with that.
Yeah, no, it was written as American Ninja. Malcolm Gone came up with the idea for the title.
Yeah, the title first. Yeah.
Chuck didn't want to be in a ninja movie, so he talked to his buddy, the screenwriter James Bruner, and said, "How do we make a movie called American Ninja without having to play a ninja?" So they wrote Invasion USA, and they gave Matt Hunter the code name American Ninja. And Menachem's like, I love the script, but we can't call it American Ninja. That's so they tossed that they reused that title for a movie that fits.
Yeah, they possibly even did a poster with Chuck Norris in it, for all we know. I mean, they may well have done that. But,
if you give me a few, I'll find you one.
Yeah. So the next guy that was a very important part of these movies, obviously Michael
Dudikoff.
James Dean-esque Michael Dudikoff.
Is that him now? He still looks that good?
Yeah, this is not too long ago.
No way.
Isn't that
Poor
annoying?
man's Ryan Gosling. There he is.
That's not fucking fair at all.
With frosted tips. On the hair.
That's not Ryan Gosling. Both his eyes are pointing in the same direction.
The thing is, he's probably almost about my age, and look at him, fucker. I mean, terrible person.
That's what I'm griping about. I'm like younger than him, and he looks that good. What the hell?
Shit, I was born right about the time he hit his stride in films, and
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah, I was born in '80s, so like, yeah, no way. He's like probably almost old enough to be my dad.
He's
right?
one of these people that I hate because he's handsome, charming, athletic, and affable. All the things that I'm not.
I know, right?
Oh, you're all of those things. You shut.
No, Courtney, thank you. You're too kind. But
I
isn't
love
he-
I love that bit in the Electric Boogaloo documentary where he's like, they kept telling me, Michael, we're gonna have really important work for you down the line. I promise. Just do these 5 ninja movies first.
and then some samurai stuff. Yeah, and then we'll.
Right.
Well, that was the important stuff,
Right. Yeah, but what a beautiful guy. But
Samurais are much more important than ninjas.
well, exactly. And where do you draw the line, though? I mean, I know ninjas are supposed to be stealthy and do the dirty work, but in these movies, they typically seem to be out in the sunshine doing stuff. So
yeah,
I was gonna say stealthy.
Well, it's
tell us
California.
the main character in Enter the Ninja, where he's wearing white.
that's
well,
right.
this is the 80s, so nighttime camera lenses cost money.
So huge player in the American Ninja series. Well, 3 of them anyway. Look at that. I mean, that's an iconic image.
Right.
I am surprised he wasn't a bigger star out of the era. That's for sure.
Yeah. The funny thing is, he himself never really wanted to be an actor. He wanted to be a child psychologist, and then he was working as a waiter in a cocktail bar. That much is true. when he was spotted and offered a runway model gig, and then that
Not
led
surprising.
to commercials, and that led
Right.
to TV work, but he considered himself a comedic actor till he went for this role.
He did some comedic stuff.
He did Bachelor Party.
I may have mentioned this in the last stream that we did, but there's another movie that wound up being really influential, actually, in a roundabout way, even though most people haven't seen it. I think it was straight to video. It's kind of a post-apocalyptic thing called Radioactive Dreams that he was in. Yeah, and that was a whole thing, right? Like that wound up inspiring Fallout. I think he was in that.
Oh, right.
But yeah, that in that he's much more comedic, right? I feel like that's how he saw himself more so as an actor, right? Like
I think you're right, Razor. Yeah, he did, and he'd been in Bachelor Party and Happy Days and stuff like that. And
Bachelor Party. He's crazy in that
Oh.
movie. Yeah. Mhm.
I'm surprised he
Yeah.
didn't have more fun with the canon movies than knowing damn well that those guys wouldn't be privy to him, doing it more sarcastically or something like
Well,
that.
here's the amazing thing about canon films. Some people who made these took them 100% seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why they hold up. Because if they had winked and nodded during all these movies, they wouldn't
You're
hold
right.
up at all.
You're
it'd just be
100%
too
right. I'm
camp.
just saying that I'm surprised he didn't, being at that level, being like, well, I think I'm a comedian. Well, I can underhandedly be funny without these guys knowing it because they can barely speak English.
I think his biggest problem was he signed his contract with Canon right as like Canon was starting to take their dive with financial trouble. So where Chuck was making bigger and bigger movies and the Death Wish movies were getting bigger and bigger, the movies Michael Dudikoff was making for Canon were getting cheaper and cheaper, and it doesn't really set him up to be a bigger star.
Yeah, so obviously big player and became a very close friend of Steve James, who we'll talk about in a second, but here the two of them are together. Now for me,
American Fighter.
Yeah, American Fighter, as it was called there. Yeah, no, I mean, people talk like, let's be real here. You've got forget about Rocky and Apollo. Forget about Riggs and Morto. Forget about Crockett and Tubbs. This is the badass brothers from another mother ass-kicking duo. Forget about all those other ones. This is the duo right here.
Right.
Yeah.
These guys.
So,
is this pre-Lethal Weapon? I don't know if Buddy Cop has become a thing yet.
What year did the first one come out?
The first one was 85.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
kind of
pre-Lethal Weapon,
ahead
but
of-
it's post 48 hours, so it's in that region.
Yeah. So Buddy Cop, buddy action duo is just starting to be a thing. So this kind of struck while the iron was hot a little bit.
I think so, and I think, yeah, I mean, I'm being serious.
Same year as Iron Eagle as well, which you had Louis Gossett Jr. and the other guy, I can't even remember.
Yeah,
I
I
love
don't
Iron
remember
Eagle.
that guy either.
But I'm being kind of serious when I say this is the duo. I think this duo should have been way bigger stars. I know they did another movie for Canon later together,
It almost feels like Jean-Claude Van Damme took over what was meant to be Michael Dudikoff's career at one point. It feels
could be. You could be right there. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted, so keep talking without me. I'm trying to fix this subscriber alert stuck on the
maybe in
screen.
an alternate universe, we've got him in Bloodsport and Street Fighter.
Probably dodged the Street Fighter bullet, but
Jason he'd have done a better job, to be honest with you.
You know what?
It could have gotten much worse.
We wouldn't have had the Guile monologue. I'm going up river and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Biso's ass so hard that every other Bison wannabe is gonna feel it.
I thought Jean-Claude Van Damme was here for a minute. Jesus.
I'm just trying to fix
that. Was especially bad after growing up, like playing Street Fighter games and stuff like that. Like, oh, they made a movie back in the 80s. This is going to be amazing. Oops.
I thought it was going to be. You get right. I thought it was going to be Colonel Guile, not Colonel Guy. Fucking, but apparently,
at least Dudikoff would have been more in line with Guile. Let's be real. Like, he kind of looks like him even on the cover of the.
He does. He does. Actually, you know who? Speaking of fighting games and whatever, I have 100% always speculated, and I'm pretty sure that Michael Dudikoff was used as the inspiration for Galford from Samurai Showdown. The blonde American ninja guy with the little dog and the whatever, the 100% that was ripped off.
Yeah, I think you're
Makes
right.
sense.
I totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because video games were ripping off a lot of stuff back then without even trying to pretend they
and
were.
Canon films
from
were ripped
actors
off
to heavy metal albums to everything. Like they were taking whatever they could get.
And then Canon was ripping shit off themselves, so it became the cyclical thing where it was like a snake eating its own tail at one point, and that's how you wind up with Cyborg.
Yeah.
It was meant to be Masters of the Universe 2, but no.
I just want to apologize to everybody. This subscriber alert seems to be stuck on the screen. I've switched them all off, but it's still there. My apologies.
Just subscribe already.
Just
right.
Subscribe.
It's not going away until you hit the button.
That might go away. So
the guy that played with Louis Gossett Jr. was Jason Gedrick. He's actually been in a lot of stuff.
Jason Gedrick, that's right. Yes, thank you.
So Steve,
except for he's not in Iron Eagle 3 or 4, and he's unceremoniously killed off in the beginning of Iron Eagle 2.
Right.
So the two of them may have become a bigger deal as a duo, apart from the 3 movies they did make. If, of course, it hadn't been the untimely death of Steve James through cancer, unfortunately, at age of 41. And as he was on his way to perhaps becoming a much bigger star.
Man, the movie I always remember him in is the one that the French Connection guy made in the 80s. To Live and Die in L.A. He was a Hood Street level counterfeiter, and he was tough in that movie.
He could act a little bit. He had a good look. You could totally see him in some of the movies that came out in the 90s, especially as like gangster movies and stuff became bigger. I could totally see him in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he did do an impressive amount of stuff as well as the Canon stuff, the Exterminator, the Warriors, Delta Force, Canon. Obviously, that was Riverbend, which I've actually never seen, but I've heard is a really good movie. Which was also a Sam Furstenberg. I've heard it's really good. That's set down in your way, Joe, down in the bayou. Apparently, so I'm going to check that out. When I've spent all week watching these 8 ninja movies. I've watched some of them 3 times, so I haven't been able to watch anything else. Some of them I hadn't seen since on VHS in the 80s.
I wasn't able to watch any either because we're right in the middle of Mardi Gras down here. So it's on and popping down here. It's a party every night right now.
But you lucky bastard. He was a martial arts guy, kung fu. Tiger Claw Kung Fu, which I don't know anything about. And when he died, Dudikoff was one of his pallbearers, and Sidney Poitier read the eulogy at his funeral because his wife worked for Sidney Poitier. And,
wow,
it's very tragic. I think he had the potential to be a big star, but
cancer sucks.
Sadly, yeah, absolutely. So rest in peace, Steve, and thanks for the brilliant stuff you did in the American Ninja movies. To me, Dudikoff gets a lot of credit, and he's a star, but Steve James was a co-star. And the third one, which Dudikoff isn't in, of course. Although it's an exact replica of the first one, almost, with elements of the second one. But yeah, look at this badass stuff.
Oh yes, the
Yeah,
he's
wow.
got the Fred Williamson. What is that movie? The post-apocalyptic one where Fred Williamson's got the purple cape. He's basically Lando. I'm trying to think of what that is.
Oh, geez.
Apocalypse Warriors. Anyway, Warriors of the Wasteland. That's what it is.
That's it. Yeah,
he's got that going on. The little headband.
Yeah, and I liked it in the opening montage. I had him wielding the short swords, which he just looked so cool.
Yeah, that is the most rubber sword I've ever seen, though.
Oh God! I was just gonna say, even as in low res as that picture is, you could totally tell that sword's fake.
But they did make an impressive whooshing noise.
Yeah,
whoosh, whoosh, you know,
got a pretty thick edge to it there. Yeah.
Well, it's just a piece of wood covered in tinfoil.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
So like the next guy was David Bradley.
Yes,
it's a little chilly there.
Yeah, from a town
Given
I've
some
been
of the
in.
female stars in these movies, I'm very appreciative that none of them believed in undershirts.
That's right.
I don't think Golan and Globus believed in undershirts.
Right.
It was the 80s, gang.
He's doing his Jeff Goldblum impression there, I think.
That was probably the first question any actress was asked when you walked in the door. Are you okay with nudity? Yes, you're hired.
Come on in.
What are your nipples like in the cold? Yeah. He's from Plano in Texas. I only mention that because I used to live in Dallas, and Plano I've been in many times, but from Plano, Texas, black belt in karate, and he doesn't seem to act anymore.
He didn't act back then.
Back then. He retired from acting to concentrate on his art. So, and here he is with his puffy shirt on.
Yes. I don't want to be a pirate.
From the movie that they virtually spent no time together on screen.
Yeah.
They remind me of Hans and Franz.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was to keep them warm. That was all. So a few others just briefly before we move on to talking about some of the movies in detail. Steve Lambert, Major League choreographer, stunt guy.
He was in some Jackie Chan movies, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean,
he was in Who Am I? My favorite one.
I think he did Indiana Jones as well and stuff like that. Major League.
I think that was him.
He was the guy
I think you're right. No,
swinging around the Statue of Liberty and Remo Williams.
Yeah,
there you go.
So major,
great movie.
Went on to a major career. He did Revenge of the Ninja 3, American Ninja. A lot of you'll see him on screen way more than the stars usually. You know, Cedric Sundstrom, who directed American Ninja 3 and 4, I think I'm right in saying, Austin. After Furstenberg moved on. Now this guy I love, James Booth, Private Henry Hook, but also the writer and co-star of Avenging Force and Pray for Death. But he did script polishing on American Ninja 2 and was the writer and the villain in American Ninja 4. I believe. Great English actor, but if you've never seen Zulu, he played Private Henry Hook, one of my favorite performances in one of my favorite films. So, but he played a role in the latter American Ninja movies in various ways. So, and then
there we go.
So we have Ninja Boogaloo.
Oh yes.
Ninja 3, the domination.
Is that my mom?
Right?
That's my mom. that's somebody's mom. Let's put it that way. There's a few somebody's moms in there. So Lucinda Dickey, Ninja Boogaloo.
So this is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Ninja Boogaloo. Is that what we're gonna call
That's
it?
the one, yeah.
The aerobics thing was fucking massive. Yeah, this is how Canon made their films, of course, and they'll cop to this themselves. They're like, okay, what's this popular thing? What's another popular? Let's just combine them. Let's just make sure we combine them. And so they did. They kind of took it's got a little bit of horror. It's like got The Exorcist in it a little bit, and it's got the aerobics craze in it, but then also ninjas. Because
I would almost say like a little bit of Nightmare on Elm Street 2 too, almost in a way, like the ninja taking over her body, kind of like Freddy was taking over the kid's body in the second one. But yeah, Exorcist works too, either way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but that's the canon was great at slipping stuff in there, and of course she'd done Breaking. I mean, even the titles are Menahem Golan's Electric Boogaloo. Hey, great title. Let's find a movie that'll fit it, But I guess they wanted a little bit of representation in the third movie, Ninja 3. Just put her in there. It kind of pissed Shokus off.
I think this is really a lot of what he was just saying. Mix the aerobics thing with ninja. Not only that, the women are hot in these movies. Well, what if we had one with a sword?
Yeah,
right.
A pork sword. I mean, a sword. Sorry, yes.
Right.
And then Tadashi. I can never pronounce his name right. Tadashi Yamashita.
Because now, wasn't he in the second film as well?
He was the Black Star Ninja in, was it the first or the second American
First
Ninja?
Or second? I can't remember which one.
And you can tell he's a villain. Do you know how you can tell he's a villain? Mustache and a scar.
The only time it doesn't matter is when it's Charles Bronson.
Right.
Charles Bronson, yeah. So these are some of the players. And there's others, but these were kind of some of the important players in some of these, and not a bad cast of people to have on board in your movies. So we'll the one thing I did want to ask about before we look at some of the individual movies in more detail is I think you, Razor, might have mentioned, or Austin might have mentioned earlier, that the budgets. Now, canon seemed to go against the norm, which was they'd start with a film with a reasonable budget, it was a hit, and then they'd cut the budget by a third for the next one. Is that true? Is that what they did?
Yeah, they just tried to, rather than build upon the movie with a sequel, they would just try to wring as much cash as they could, spend less, and led to diminishing returns, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like they killed their own franchises in some way.
Probably the only example I can think of that sort of countervails against that is Death Wish 2, but they didn't make the original.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I'm pretty sure looking at Death Wish 2, it was probably a little more expensive than the first one.
Well, and people got to remember that when Death Wish 2 come out, that was kind of like the equivalent to one of these rebootquels we get now.
Yeah.
Because that had been almost 10 years since the first film at that point, which might as well have been like 20 in those days.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of almost like reintroducing the character. And after our last conversation about this, Razor, the first Death Wish has now come out on 4K, and I just watched it the other night. And then I recently watched Death Wish 2 a little while back here because it was really re-released again. I think you might be right that Death Wish 2 is the more enjoyable of the two. Like the first one's good, but it's kind of like almost quaint in comparison, especially when you get to 2 and how that climax is 10 times better and more satisfying.
It works better because the core emotional conceit of the first movie is these thugs got my wife and daughter. I'm going to get revenge by attacking a bunch of random strangers.
Right.
So the second one is, no, I'm going to hunt them down one at a time. And every single one has their own personality and their own quirks. And I'm going to use those quirks against them and just take them out one at a time. Like basically he's going Hitman. So it works better emotionally. And I also happen to think it's a better filmed and written movie as well. Not that the first one isn't well filmed and written. I just think the second one, actually, the script is underrated, and so are some of the performances. Not from Jill Ireland.
No.
And not to go too far off that, but yeah, I just noticed that, so I wanted to say that because I just watched Death Wish, the first one, the other night. So
so Death Wish 2, I agree. I mean, if with the indulgence of everybody here, we're going to do a Charles Bronson special as well, probably in another month from now, because you've all been so kind to come back for this second show.
I had a question for Austin that I've been thinking about, and you might know the answer to this. Like you said, canon was huge, and VHS was like a huge part of their distribution model. Well, it started existing around like 79, 80, like right when VHS was starting to become a thing. So was that like, were they invested in VHS like right off the bat?
Oh yeah,
dude,
we kind of
yeah.
touched on that quite a bit last week, or last time, but yeah.
Yeah, by the early 80s, you were already starting to see, well, hell, my favorite movie is Blade Runner, right? Blade Runner seen as a huge flop when it came out. Next year, it was like top 5 of rentals or something. So you were already starting to see like movies could make their money back, or at least
they had a second life at Blockbuster, no doubt.
I would imagine in Canon's case, they probably made more on the videos.
Well,
in a lot of cases.
Canon had a huge distribution network, so we talked about this on the last one actually.
Yeah,
they had a huge distribution network, so they released a lot of movies that they didn't technically own or make on VHS. So they were 100%. I'm sure a huge part of them slashing the budget was this will be straight to video, basically. Like, we might release this in theaters, we might not, but mostly we're going to make our nut on home video.
Yeah, these guys were the kings of, like when I would get like the video store magazines back in the day, there was a ton of companies like Canon like already by that point, but these guys were the first to come out there and basically like Razor just said, they'd spend a third of the money on the sequel, put it in theaters for literally like a weekend in like 2 cities. So then in the ad, they could say it was a theatrical release, because in that way they could charge more for the videotape. Because if it was a straight to video, they had a harder time charging the premium price. Because for those who don't know, back then, before the age of DVD and streaming, a rental video cassette on beta or VHS would generally cost anywhere from $80 to $100 some dollars.
$80 to $100. Yeah.
Cheap,
if you messed it up,
so,
that's what you had to pay. Yeah.
Yeah. So like straight to video movies, you could usually get cheaper. They would usually run in the $40 range. So I'm sure Canon, just to be able to jack that price up on their videotapes, and this is why I said they probably made more money at the end of the day on videotapes sales than they did in the theaters, is they would do that a lot. They would just release them in small little quick releases in bigger cities so they could say they were theatrical releases.
Well, you had different tiers.
Yeah.
You had different tiers of theaters back then too. You didn't have, it wasn't just AMC and Cinemark. You had the dollar theaters. I used to go see a lot of the movies on extended runs, because back then we didn't have streaming. We didn't have any of that stuff. They stayed in theaters longer, and they'd go to those lower theaters, and that's where a lot of these came out at.
Yeah, you get your 2 for $2 theater runs. You get a double bill, and it'd be like $2 or something to get in.
Mm-hmm. Well, that usually started with the drive-ins, but those were dying out at this time.
Just say a quick hi to Polly Latino Slant. Sorry, Razor. Yeah, hi, Polly. Good to see you, mate. Sorry, Razor. Go ahead.
I remember watching Kindergarten Cop in fucking dollar theater.
All right.
You could catch some stuff in the dollar theater. I watched Cool Runnings in the dollar theater.
Oh yeah, awesome. I'm glad I saw something about Mary in the dollar theater, because at that point I hadn't seen the movie yet, and everybody's talking it up. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll take a chance, go see it. I'm like, I'm so glad I saw it that way, because this does not live up to the hype, which I was disappointed, because I loved Kingpin and Dumb and Dumber, but I mean, I liked it all right, but I'm like, yes, this was not this bit. Like, you got to remember, at that time, they made that movie out to be like the second coming of Christ when it came to comedies. Yeah. It was like, this is the greatest comedy of all time. Yeah. It was like,
the dude from Ghetto Life. Come on.
I was like, nah, Kingpin and Dumb and Dumber were actually better, in my opinion. It was from the same guys, so I was like, anyway, back to Canon. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't disagree with you about that, though, Tom. I agree with you there.
But we were talking about at the time, like last night, the thing that Canon coming in did, they would have been the kind of company to make like a lot of the B level movies for the drive-ins, but the drive-ins were dying out. So what was taking its place, though, was, like you guys just said, the dollar theaters or mainly the video store. The video store was starting to get a lot of these movies that used to go as the B feature to a lot of the drive-in theaters that were kind of just dying out, because by the time you get to the late 80s, early 90s, we were literally down to like a dozen drive-in theaters in America. Like right now, I mean, up until COVID, there was only like 5 in existence.
I know of
Wisconsin had like 2 of them, which is
I know of only 2
sad,
in Canada. I know of
we've got one here. I watched all the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, a bunch of them have opened up in the last
San
few years,
Antonio, I think. Texas, San Antonio.
There's a handful left. Yeah.
Yeah, they've started to reopen again over COVID, especially because
which is great. It's actually a cool way to watch a movie. Incidentally, if no one's ever done it, it's actually pretty neat.
Dude, when I was 12, my birthday, my dad took me and a bunch of friends, and we took all our Star Wars toys to go see Star Wars at the drive-in. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty cool shit in the theater. I got to see Raiders of the Lost Ark at a drive-in. I saw RoboCop at a drive-in.
I saw Star Wars and Logan's Run at the drive-in and a double.
Debbie does Dallas, fun time.
Well, right. So so like for instance, at that time, you would have went to see like Top Gun or whatever, and then its B movie would have been like Enter the Ninja or something like that. That normally would have, if they still would have existed at a higher level, then that's the kind of movies that these were, the B level movies. But with the Chuck Norris films, they hit gold with him at big time, and same thing with Charles Bronson. Then I forgot all about the Electric Boogaloo movies, of course. Those they were popular. That was what Razorfist was talking about before, was jumping ahead of the trend.
Then again, diminishing returns, because the first one made more money and had bigger budget than the second one, I think. And then they did the rapping one, which had even less of a budget. So they just kind of diminished their brand a bit. They could have bumped it up and really pushed it, and they rushed them out quick. And they did that with these movies too. Well, maybe not so much the Ninja trilogy, the American Ninja ones. They kept savagely cutting the budget back.
Some of the Stallone movies they did seemed to get higher in budget a little.
They
like
did.
The Rambo, didn't they do Rambo 3 with Stallone? And that definitely
think they bought into that one.
Budget. Yeah.
See, that was their thing with Sly, is they snuck their way in. And I think we touched on this slightly, but basically, I don't know, Austin might have more on this.
The only one that Cannon actually produced was
Over the Top.
I was just going to say they snuck in on his deal.
Cobra was, they got a vanity credit on it, but that was a Warner Brothers movie. They just let Sly out of his exclusive contract to go make Cobra there, and they ended up with Cannon with their names on the top.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying a lot of these movies we're about to talk about were MGM distributed as well? So they've got MGM.
Well, they had two major deals in the 80s, unless they had another one that I can't remember, and that was through MGM and Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers, that's how they wound up with Masters of the Universe and like 2 or 3 other titles that are canon titles. And then MGM has a large portion of the rest because they had distribution deals through them, and when they defaulted, that's how Warner Brothers got those rights to those movies or something like that, if I remember correctly. Because Razor's right, back in the day, Canon did release their own videos, but for theatrical distribution, they would a lot of times go through other companies. But then when they screwed the company up, they ended up losing the rights to a bunch of those movies, if I remember correctly, right, Austin? Is that how it worked?
Yeah. What happened with the Warner Brothers is Canon needed money for Superman 4. They didn't have enough money to make that or Over the Top. So Warner Brothers swept in and gave them more budget and ended up basically cherry picking what movies they wanted from the upcoming Canon slates. That's where you have those weird, 16 movies or so that ended up in
with Masters and a few other ones.
Yeah. But Canon, we think of them, of course, with these Golden Globus movies and all these action movies that they produced. But what paid the bills was a lot of their video distribution. That I think in 1986, at their peak, their catalog was about 1,100 movies that they had the rights to.
Wow.
And those were things that they sold to video all over the world. All they filled every cable channel around the world, and that's what kept the lights on while they were spending all this money on Life Force and Over the Top.
Life Force, love Life Force.
You mentioned cable. I mean, Canon even today are all over all the movie channels, all over, and it was the same way back then, all throughout the 90s. Most of these movies, when I watched them for the first time, it was on like a Saturday afternoon on a syndicated TV channel or something. And Canon have always been like all over that, right? That's just been part and parcel of their business model.
Well, even HBO and Showtime, I remember that's the first time I ever saw Ninja 3: The Domination was on HBO, I believe it was. So they were constantly on, regular cable, and like you said, Razor, I remember discovering a lot of them on like TBS and TNT late at night.
Wow.
And a lot of those, and
you think
USA and stuff. Yeah,
you're just like, oh.
Right. Just want to mention a super chat over in the Odyssey side, and I'm keeping checking you guys and Rumble too. I know there's people over there. Union of Amateur Strategists made a tip over there. Thank you. I can't wait for the Missing in Action and the Death Wish streams. I'll start rewatching them. Keep it up. You guys are naming all of my favorites. Well, thank you, Universal Strategists, and I can assure you that those streams will be coming. If my poor heart can stand the strain of all the prep that it took.
Well, somebody just brought up in the chat, about a streaming service of canon. The problem with that is what we just said. Unfortunately, a lot of the rights are scattered all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be amazing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, it'd be amazing if guys like us would just buy the name right now and just start doing what they used to do. Right. Just start all over again. Pick up we're canon now. The new generation of canon. Yeah.
And the annoying thing about that is, and this is always something that's irritated the hell out of me, is a lot of the business partners who, were kind of linked up with them in the 80s and sort of looked down on them, now own the rights to all their stuff and bogart it like crazy. But I mean, some of the most frequent spurious copyright claims I receive on my channel are from MGM. And if you watch the documentaries where they talk with people from MGM, they do nothing but unremittingly shit all over the Canon Films legacy and all the movies that they received and whatever. It's like, okay, then stop copyright claiming all their content on my videos when I review them.
The sad part is MGM ain't got no freaking room to talk either, because in that era they were horrible. Like, the only movies they had that were hits were rare and random hits. Outside of the Rocky films, they didn't have much at that point. And the few random Bond films they did.
Yep. Yeah. So I got some. I'm not going to play the trailer for this one because I did test it on YouTube and it got a bit of a weird copyright reaction.
Yeah, that's probably MGM for you.
Yeah.
If you shrunk it down enough, you might be able to get away with it. But
I think it was 20 seconds of music at the end or something that.
The music is worse than the video.
Usually, So, but I have a bunch of stills from the movie, but we can.
So who was in the outfit here then? Is because we were talking about that earlier. So this is not even.
He's trying to hide in the red shadow.
I figured it was Mike Stone, but I might be wrong.
I was gonna say I'm not sure. I can't tell.
Yeah, Mike handled most of Franco's ninja work.
Yeah, and this it's an interesting opening sequence because you think there's a real battle going on here, and there's actually blood. I mean, you see blood coming out of these guys, and you realize later what's happened. Spoilers for those who've never seen these movies, by the way, that this is all a test. Well, did they really do themselves up with fake blood in the ninja world to test the other guy test it?
Weird.
Anyway,
so it was a great honor to sacrifice themselves for this
test. So this guy can go down the DMV and get his ninja certificate.
Right. Well, you do that,
So, I mean, I've cut these stills collages down so we can get 10 minutes worth rather than having the whole movie.
You mean they didn't go full clanner and use live ammo for training?
Well,
right.
There you go.
But Evan say he's got his certificate, which is like his cycling proficiency certificate, and he puts it. You can put it on the wall now. But there's that look, and of course Sho Kosugi is not happy because he's not a real ninja, is he?
He is
He's a white boy.
He's doing reverse racism. Can't be a ninja because he's not one of us.
See, white men were treated like shit even back then.
Right.
What's the line that he delivers with the terrible overdub?
There she is.
Always attacks in defense, but never in offense. Never.
There is
a movie about ninjas written by people who clearly know next to nothing about ninjas.
Right. Yeah. Now, Susan George makes her appearance here, and Susan George has been in some interesting movies.
If that wasn't an early 80s outfit, if I ever saw one,
I'm telling you, man.
And she also lost the outfit. She could lose the outfit in a lot of movies too, which if you look on the internet, it's all available. But so she wasn't afraid to flash a bit of flesh. The thing that's always interested me about his friend here is, one, his friend's a dick, but two, that Franco Nero, not only killing thousands of people he doesn't need to kill, sleeps with his friend's wife rather easily.
I think this is honestly just a documentary about Franco Nero, to be honest.
Right?
It's like, does Franco know we're making a movie? I mean,
I mean,
Franco's in pretty good shape there, actually.
He is. He's not bad looking. I mean, we didn't see most of the opening sequence over the titles, which is Shokasugi doing all the weapons and all the.
That dude's got the longest legs I've ever seen on a man. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, check out those pants.
Now, this villain here, the Hook, we didn't see him, but he's got the worst German accent ever.
Yeah, that was Zachy Noy from Lemon Popsicle movies, but he's in so many canon movies. Israeli comic actor.
Yeah, but he's accent.
It's funny you mentioned Lemon Popsicle because The Last American Virgin just finally made its way to Blu-ray this last week.
Wow.
Right.
Finally.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. MVD has a lot of the canon rights, speaking of rights, but there.
But Susan George is definitely here for the looks.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice little actor. You know, she's a nice little actress.
She was cool.
Yeah, she did a lot of British stuff and whatever. But this bar scene is hilarious. Especially as the Hook is like, it's so overacted. He reminds me of, he's like a Paul Williams if he had been in the 1880s with one arm. You know, it's like,
Oh, that's funny.
Paul Williams if he gained a few pounds, yeah.
And if you watch all of these ninja movies, there's always somebody that looks a little bit like somebody that was famous.
Yeah,
right.
Well, they're good at that, yeah.
No, Canon Films casted their films like pornos cast their films. Like, it kind of looks like Angelina Jolie.
They shot him like it too.
Spot on, man. Yeah. Spot on. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, this is when Nero starts to do his thing with the thug. Of course, he's not the ultimate villain, the Hook. We know there's an.
I'm also digging the bell bottoms on the leisure suit. On the like track.
I just had a viewer message me in the background saying, "I lived in Japan for 3 years. That is not Japan."
Oh, dude, they filmed. Oh, this is great. I think it's the first and second one, if I remember correctly. They filmed all of the ninja sequences that are supposed to be in Japan in the Japanese garden in San Francisco, if I remember.
I was gonna say, I think they're all in California, from my recollection. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get to it in the next movie when we show that, but basically Shokasugi and his family are living supposedly in Tokyo, and it's this idyllic garden thing. Tokyo is a big fucking city full of skyscrapers.
It's a little college. It's a little cottage. And
that's where you got Golan just probably going, the Americans, they never been there. They don't know. Just put whatever in there.
Tokyo is this little rural cottage thing. Yeah.
And the way that it's shot too. Like it's like, we're gonna go now to Tokyo. You know what I mean? Like it's so like obvious.
I know.
Really
how much stock footage can we use?
Waiting for a waitress to come out and bring them their tea.
That's right, yeah.
What'd you say, Courtney? I didn't mean to talk.
I just said they're really in like Tulsa, Oklahoma or something.
Like we said, it's all California.
Salt Lake City is used for some of them.
Salt Lake City.
Was it Salt Lake too? Yeah.
This guy, Christopher George, I don't remember the show because even I'm not that old, but the Rat Patrol, I believe he was in.
Yes,
show called the Rat Patrol, yeah. And he's the main villain, but I love his. You're not going to see him here. He was in it earlier. His British sidekick. That's him. There. He's like Michael Caine's not as good cousin or something. And he speaks just like Michael Caine. And we're going to need another Batman.
Right. This movie is going to be the size of a tangerine.
That's exactly
the
how
only
he
thing
talks.
that can beat a ninja is another ninja.
Ninja. You didn't have to kill all our gods. We wanted you to come in for a chat anyway and a cup of tea. And that guy looks like somebody too. I don't know who it is, but he looks like a famous actor too. There's just everyone looks a bit like somebody. And filmed on a generic doc. But,
I think the dude in the skull cap there was from the beginning of Cobra with the shotgun. That guy.
Oh, it could be. Yeah. There's
oatmeal face guy.
What's his face on the right? There also looks a lot like James Caan too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, James
Caan. Of course, the main villain there is literally just 1980s Klaus Schwab.
That's right. Yeah, that's James Caan's even
lesser cousin. Yeah. my cousin was in Godfather.
Yeah. We didn't really get to see a lot of that, but the dragging behind the vehicle thing was a good stunt.
They got only afford 1A. Yeah.
No, that's not James Caan. That's James Cant.
That's right.
Right.
Honestly, that's Paul Williams would have been perfect in that role.
Who would have thought that a ninja movie would need a cowboy boot budget this fucking high?
Right? Wow.
Hey, it was the early 80s. You gotta go with it.
Yeah, it's just but yeah, this guy Cole, like Franco Nero's Cole, he kills everyone in sight, sleeps with his friend's wife. I mean, he's not exactly the best of guys, is he? I mean, his friends
he only uses his ninja powers in defense and then proceeds to massacre an entire city full of people.
That's right, including poor security guards that are just answering the phone and
right.
Yeah,
it's okay. That's the stunt man. That's not Franco Nero. It's no big deal.
But yeah, this blimey, we need another Batman.
Right.
Cole, blimey, you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off, not kill everybody.
Right.
And then you've got the guy from Silent Night, Deadly Night. I forgot he was in this. Yeah, that's the grandpa from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
Christmas time is the scariest damn time of the year.
Yeah. Was he in? Oh man, was he in Motel Hell? The one about the cannibals?
He might have been.
Let me look it up real quick.
Sorry, I'm not
I just always remember him from Silent Night, Deadly Night because he's like, Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year.
Yeah,
but look at this.
Would you care to fornicate, lady?
But look at this pair of sluts. Their husband's next door sleeping off a bender.
Right?
And...
Seriously.
Well, come on, do you blame her? I mean, he's like James Cant, and
I mean,
she's got Franco
and you just
next
leave
door.
the curtains open.
Yeah, they leave the curtains open so the cameraman can see. But I mean, how much of a bad of a friend do you have to be if you sleep with your friend's wife? I don't care how awfully drunk.
I
your
think
friend
back
is.
then it didn't matter. It was kind of like the same reason why men don't ask for directions. Because if you ask for directions and the other guy knows how to get there, he can legally steal your wife. You know. So.
And in case you were wondering. And in case you were wondering if Franco Nero is genuinely Italian, take a look at that open leisure suit.
That's right. The rug, no doubt.
Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a couple of different European nations can pull that off, and this would be another.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
Sean can pull the rug off too, you know.
Yeah, usually on his head.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, this is an interesting movie because I think they definitely got better with the next one. There's elements in this that are good, but there's a few shaky bits in it, and because you don't get you only get so much of Kasugi.
Yeah,
and he's the villain, so.
I really feel like the sequel is superior. I did a full Rageaholic cinema
way
workup
superior.
On the second one. The second one is just steers into the batshit crazy ninja skid, and it's glorious.
Well, it starts to bring in supernatural elements and demonic elements and whatever. But where is this supposed to be set, by the way, Austin? Is it in the?
I think it's Manila. I mean, it was shot in Philippines, so I think
it's filmed there, so it's set there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that Tash. Yeah. The Tash is doing all the acting.
Can I just say that I remember every shot from all of these movies, but I couldn't tell you what one of them was about because my brother and my dad always watched this crap and I hated it.
There's not much of a plot to this one.
Its plot is
they just got to go get Captain Hook.
Scenes, though, and I'm like,
nasty guy wants someone's land. Someone is friends with Franco Nero. Franco Nero kills people.
Kills an entire district.
Kills an entire city to prove the point.
Yeah, and Franco makes Jason Voorhees look like an amateur, basically. Yeah.
Oh, we need your land. Immediately kills everyone else. See, now there's plenty.
And most of the action is restricted to the final third of the movie, which mercifully we're reaching, where he basically goes and kills everyone, including the housekeeper, the pool boy.
Right. It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like the section of Monty Python and the Holy Grail with Lancelot, where he's murdering everyone at the wedding party for no reason. He's killing like waiters and flower girls.
Yeah, and then for some reason, I guess Kasugi's burning down Susan George's ranch. Ignores the house, of course, just burns down some wicker baskets outside. But yeah, he met a pretty sticky death. That's true.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
His name is Will Hare. I just found him. I'm sorry, guys.
Will Hare.
Will Hare. And he was the guy growing the pine trees in Back to the Future. He's the one that shot at him.
Oh,
and he was an alien. Yeah.
So he's Peabody. That's right. Yes, he's also in that too. You're right. Jesus, that is the same guy.
Yeah.
Jeez, I forgot all about that.
It's true that actually it's not so much discount James Caan, it's discount Art Garfunkel.
Room my pines.
Heaven Can Wait's the one I remember him in.
There's
he
a
was
large
the doctor in Heaven Can Wait. I love that.
Man, he's in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Apparently, there was a large oil deposit beneath the line. Most of the oil, I think, was in the haircuts.
And again, you got the white ninja outfit, which Party City is missing a fucking costume.
Yeah, I mean, was there such a thing in reality as a white ninja outfit? I've read a lot of James Clavell and also Japanese history, and I don't remember.
I mean, I guess if you're in a snowy environment,
and there's mountains in Japan.
If you ask Hasbro,
yeah,
there's at least one.
There's Snake Eyes. Yeah.
My apologies.
Storm Shadow, too.
This always puzzled me. It's in the Maricopa restaurant, which is a town in Arizona. So did we just travel? What just happened?
Maybe it's transcendental. And this is one of the great death scenes, though. I think we may have skipped it.
Dude, the final duel. I don't think this movie's as good as Enter the Ninja. The final duel is as good, if not better. As
and the nunchaka into the bad guy is also pretty good. We skipped past it. It was in the opening montage, but get some of the star there.
Wait, which one is this one? Is this Return or is this Enter? Which one?
This is Enter. We're doing them in order because I'm a very orderly.
I was threw off by what Razor just said. I'm like, wait a minute, aren't we watching Enter right now?
Who knows? But this fight is pretty badass. Yeah, he does the backward flips. For me. Does the backward flips in it pretty spectacularly. Yeah, and then he allows him to have the honorable death.
Yes.
Doesn't
he chop his head off?
He does. He chops his head off.
His head off. Right?
Yeah. Now this is where again, Nero's like,
oh man,
so
classic.
And then he went and broke the fourth wall after we were just talking about it.
After just saying ninjas only kill in whatever, and then he sees the hook and goes, "Okay, I'll make an exception." So
how did he not come back and make more of these? There's an alternate universe where he's in every single one, and there's 9 of them.
And it was seriously. A bit of a hit. I mean, you think he would have been keen? Maybe he cost too much money. I don't know.
Well, again, like I said, he was slumming it in this movie a little bit, but his career was a little bit on the upswing at least towards the end of the 70s and whatever.
In Europe,
he was being involved in American films,
and he was making a lot of art house stuff in Europe and directing stuff. So yeah, busy guy. But all in all, what do you think? I mean, solid entry, good movie.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's what all these things are. Is fun. Yeah.
It was. I mean,
check your brain at the door. Check your brain at the door. You know what you're getting into.
This one should have been called.
Sorry, Razor.
This one should have been called American Ninja. He was an American Ninja. What the hell?
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I thought of that many times.
And they did dub his voice though with a strange kind of Texas-ish thing.
Yeah, with he's got like a baseball announcer voice.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 balls.
I just struck those 2 out of the park into the pool.
It's the bottom of the 9th, and I'm going to kill a ninja.
The sentient dildo picked up on your Monty Python bit. My apologies, I just got carried away a bit.
Oh, stop that.
I think someone must have dropped out and just rejoined. I don't know. I heard somebody. So that was the first one. I think it did pretty well. I'm not sure about the numbers. Oh, we lost Austin.
Yeah, that's who we lost. Is Austin.
He seems to be having some issues.
Yeah,
Here he is.
Yeah. Sorry, some sort of technical issues on over here.
So where does Enter the Ninja, Austin, rank in your top 100 kind of movies, favorite movies list?
Gosh. Well, it's pretty high up there, but we're about to talk about one that is at the very top. I get asked all the time what my favorite canon movie is, and we're about to cover that.
I think I would have to agree with you. This of these ninja movies, not necessarily my favorite canon movie, but of these Revenge of the Ninja, I think they really nailed it on this one. Even if he is destroying an entire city block with his flamethrower or whatever it's meant to be. So we're gonna
kaiju.
He's a ninja kaiju. Yeah, we're gonna play the trailer for this one. I think we're gonna be okay for that. So bear with me while I tee that up, because I've got these all carefully annotated behind the scenes. There we go. Revenge of the Ninja trailer. Let's do it. You said show and stream, play.
Marcus Echo.
Is there an echo?
Don't hear anything yet.
The ninja, the perfect assassin. The greatest ninja warrior vows to give up killing.
My sword is sealed forever.
But a ninja cannot escape his destiny. It will follow him from the gardens of Japan to the streets of America.
Get those people out of here.
The heroines fell down.
Damn it! He's caught in a drug war between the American mafia and the Japanese yakuza. The Black Ninja, a disciple of evil who kills for pleasure. Only a ninja can stop a ninja.
Only a ninja can
Now,
stop a ninja.
as the police look on helplessly, high above the streets of Los Angeles, he must fight the killer who was once a friend. Ancient Japanese warfare explodes in America. It's the ultimate martial arts adventure. No one can survive. The Revenge of the Ninja. Revenge of the Ninja, a Golan Globus production from Academy.
Yeah, kick ass. So, fuck yeah, that's good.
I kind of like the fact that he says, "Oh, my sword's sealed forever with paper."
Yeah, with the string. With the string, yeah.
Keep in mind they build their houses out of it.
Fair enough.
The rooftop sequence at the end is just phenomenal. I mean, I'll show some stills as well, but I think they really need. I mean, the opening sequence is great too, other than the fact it's actually pretty harsh when you see them killing his family. Like, just, I don't know if they ever really explain it properly why his family had to die, but Austin,
because it's a ninja movie. Why are you bringing things like plot into
motivation?
Well, you're aware of how they made this. I actually talked about it in my review of it, in my Rageaholic cinema of it. They literally came up with fight scenes first, right? Like, and then went back and edited the movie to have a totally different story or something to that effect. Like, it wasn't. This originally wasn't supposed to be the plot. So basically, different sort of disparate scenes had to be sort of cobbled together in the editing room in order to provide the rough approximation of an actual story.
Okay. This intro was all like the last thing added to the movie. They just they took the rough cut back to canon. And they're like, we need just a bunch of ninja stuff to happen real fast.
Beginning and end needs to have action. Yeah, so I'd recommend everybody go watch Razor's streams on these because they are pretty awesome.
Let's get to the dominatrix.
Well, we will, but so things are really like I love the hanging from the roof and the maid goes around him like this carefully. He's dead. He's not going to hurt him. I think if she's a maid or a housekeeper or whatever.
The ninja hanging from the trees.
That's right. They're all hanging from the trees. They're hanging from
the see here.
The other thing is that there's supposed to be.
Say, by the way, did that school just say revenge school?
I think it might.
Was that what was that?
Hang on.
Go back.
We'll get to it. I'll pause it. I know these are flipping by pretty quick, but there's so many movies I need to do them quite short.
No, you need to move it forward. Actually,
I'll live this one.
Yeah,
it'll get there. It's moving pretty quick.
Look how utterly unaffected he is.
That's right. He seems absolutely calm. His wife and family have just been slaughtered.
There you go. Revenge School. I'm pretty sure that says right.
Revenge.
Looks like
something Avenue, but
it's
yeah,
Avenue School.
We'll say Revenge.
I think Revenge School's a better name.
Revenge is better.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
this is now canon.
And there's
we never is canon.
And there's the Ernie Reyes Jr. value model, Kane Kosagi.
Yes, his kid. His kid. And then we have the very important plot point that he's making these elaborate Japanese dolls, which his friend is trading heroin in. And it's taken him 6 years to set this up. I mean, he could have just stuck it in a container and shipped it across the.
Been done with it already.
Been done with it. How elaborate?
Then we wouldn't have a movie.
How elaborate do you have to get?
Motivation? Come on.
We never really do figure out why they murder his family. It's something to do with the land. Because Tokyo, they needed a new apartment block in Tokyo, so that's the way they get rid of them. So Stephen Lambert.
He fights this girl basically bottomless.
That's right. Well, one of them's got no bottom. Let's put it
right.
Stephen Lambert was the fight coordinator, but I would imagine Kasugi did all his own coordination. I can't imagine he would have accepted being told what to do. Sorry, Austin, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Like show. It was very much collaborative.
And he does. Lambert does play the masked demon ninja, I believe.
Yes, and the cowboy in the playground fight.
All right, yeah. Now the playground fight is great, and we showed a bit of it in the montage. It's when he kicks the shit out of the village people.
Yes, which is just the most. What in the hell is this scene even doing in this movie? Moment. Like, what did we accomplish here? What even happened?
But his buddy, I mean, poor choice. It's like Cole in the previous movie. Poor choice of friends.
Right.
His buddy is not only cheating on him with the heroin shit, he's working with the Italian mob who are the most stereotypical Italian mob ever.
Yeah.
He's cheating on everybody. He's just a bad guy. Well, you make better friends. You know? But yeah, it's no, he's discount Warren Beatty, I think.
Kind of
discount.
There's discount Joe Pesci right there.
Yeah, discount Joe Pesci.
I was just going to say the Joe Pesci thing.
I think he might be a guy that was in other like The Godfather or something. That guy, he's quite a well-known Italian actor. I had to cut the boobs out of that.
I love that scene because it upholds the Cannon Films logic of if you fuck, you die.
Get it. Nobody explained to him these aren't horror movies, right? They just thought goes along with everything.
I mean, they start
to again, it was the 80s.
Yeah, they introduced supernatural elements to this one as well. Like the black demon ninja can sort of teleport. And stuff like that. Like,
you call that teleportation?
Well, if you call it that, he can leap 10 feet to the side with his clothes remaining on, which is the key. But,
he shoots flames out of his hands. That's
he does, shoots flames. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I edited if we get shut down, it's because I didn't edit the boobs out. But you know,
right?
This is hot tub scene earlier where they all get killed, of course.
Oh, this guy in the diaper.
That's right.
Now,
and then look at that tiny ninja on there. Isn't that cute? We go back, not him. I mean, I wonder what happened to the actual models they used in those gallery scenes, because some of them must be pretty cool. I mean, it would be pretty cool to have that, I would have thought.
Right.
Wait, someone's got it.
Yeah, you know, some collectors got those.
Austin's got them. He's got a warehouse full of them.
That's it.
Canon did not pay for storage. That's
there's a landfill somewhere in the Philippines or South Africa that's called.
Well, here we go with the van chase scene. This is
great,
classic with Nightwolf behind the wheel of the fucking van there.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are doing like Mystery Science Theater type stuff.
We are, man. That's what these movies are great for. I mean, they're so much fun.
He carries the second half of this movie. Like, he's just amazing.
I would like to thank everybody in the chat again. I hope you're all enjoying it. I know we've not been able to go back to you too often because of logistics reasons, but thanks for being here. Yeah,
old lady has to be the best at kung fu because she's old, because that's the law.
That's right.
That's right.
She would be in a video game now, like Ghost of Tsushima.
The older you are, the
everybody.
less you have to move to kill someone. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. She just does it by just knowledge. Knowledge, the force of knowledge and wisdom.
All right.
The chat is killing me too. Oh my goodness.
I wish I could get. I don't know if you can. No, you can't highlight those, can you? Darius usually helps me highlight them. We are watching the chat, guys. I'm sorry I haven't been able to highlight everything, but
yeah, he tries to commit a Harvey Weinstein in the hot tub there, and he gets piano wired.
That's right.
And doesn't Kane Kosugi like kick him into the hot tub or something like that?
I think so. Yeah. Unfortunately, because I've truncated these stills, it does leave a lot of stuff out. But we wouldn't have time otherwise to do them all. But it gives.
This is what Breakin' 2 should have been, by the way, right here,
right there. That's what Ninja Boogaloo. That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Ninja Boogaloo.
Exactly.
And I like how basically the only reason they're fighting him is because he's Japanese in this scene. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
They're just like, what are you doing being from Japan? Like, what?
Yeah.
We don't
Second
take kindly to
captain is
you
awesome.
being from Japan around here.
That's right. You damn Japanese. You invaded Dunkirk.
Right.
The thing is, where do they draw the line between ninja and samurai here? Because I feel a lot of this is samurai action, not ninja action.
That's always a big problem with ninja movies from America or ninja media, is this idea that like, oh, the ninja has a code of honor, and it's like, no, you're thinking of samurai. A ninja, if he had access to a fighter jet, would crash it into you, and he would jump out first. He wouldn't. It wouldn't be no kamikaze.
They did the dirty
He would drop an
work.
atomic bomb on your head.
Yeah, they did the dirty work that the upper class samurais didn't want to do. So they were dirty. They killed in any way possible. They sneaked in. That's why they were stealthy and dressed in black. Very different code. They were not. They were very definitely not samurai.
They were assassins. That's what the word ninja means.
They were not. They would never be samurai.
I love this scene where he opens the remote control ninja cabinet. and there's dry ice in there around his ninja regalia, and it comes fucking wafting out, and he just looks down like, this again.
Well, Razor, that's to kill the moths.
And of course, a big, massive synthesizer sting hits right when that happens.
Okay, that's where I know that guy from. The guy that looks like Discount Odd Job was actually a wrestler. Toru Tanaka.
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
it was bugging me. I thought I looked it up to see if it was actually Odd Job, but this was a wrestling guy.
Well, he was a sumo wrestler too, wasn't he? Odd Job. Yeah.
He was in the WWF.
Yeah,
World Wrestling Federation. Yeah.
See, this is ninja shit though. Climbing the walls like that.
You know it.
I may or may not have had a set of those when I was in high school.
All right.
I know I had the size. I know I had a set of those. Isn't that what they're called? They look like the pitchfork kind of thing with the handle.
Right.
Short handle. I think they're called size, aren't
We
they?
had
gardening tongs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gardening tongs.
They are literally a gardening implement. They started out as one, I believe. And then,
I think nunchucks did as well.
Yeah, old, ancient, like feudal Japanese policemen started using them for defense or something, and they became kind of a cop's weapon, sort of like a Japanese nightstick a little bit.
Actually, speaking of the nunchucks, that was we mentioned it in Enter the Ninja at the beginning when he's doing the training thing to get his license. He throws one of them at a guy, and it goes right in his head.
Well, as you do.
You're just
very realistic.
This is supposed to be faked to get his license, and he just puts it right in the guy's brain. Anyway, enough of Franco Nero. Yes. Slight plot problem there.
Yeah. Right. Oh, this is where he kicks the guy into the hot tub. And and Kane Kosugi is like getting his first fucking lesson in the female anatomy here.
Right. No doubt.
Yeah, it's Kane's favorite moment in the entire movie.
Kane Kosugi, by the way, was in Ninja Assassin, I believe.
Oh yeah, right. Now
He still works and he still does movies all the time. So does Sho Kosugi.
This cop pal of his there, isn't it? Is that Keith Vitale? Is his name? He was in a bunch of things, I think. This is pretty good scene. This whole part.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you see Sho Kosugi really. You get a certain look from him. It's in the montage I did, and you can tell he means business now.
Yep. He put on the mascara, so you know
he did.
Yeah,
he means business. That's right.
Check the eyes, baby.
It's
They
risky
tell you
business,
everything.
but it's business.
No, this is a great fight scene. And I love some of the shots here, like right there where the ninja pops up around the corner of the air conditioner and he looks back and he disappears. Like oh man, it's genius.
Yeah, this whole sequence was brilliant. I mean, it made a bit of fun of the rest of the movie, but it's the best one for me.
Far and away.
And the fact that they're up on the rooftop and you can see the everything in the background, it makes it's well filmed. It's well and all practical as well.
Yeah. The glorious Salt Lake City.
Skyline of Salt Lake City. You can see
what did the director think? Like, you know what I want here? Several varying shades of brown in the background.
and a Mormon temple on a hill.
Right.
You can see the Grand American Hotel down there. That's quite nice.
Oh, and he cuts the mask in half in twain.
Yeah. So it was fun aside. That whole sequence is awesome.
Yeah.
Really well done. Yeah, do love that. And it does hang together pretty well as a movie.
Well, yeah, and it's all because of what you guys said earlier. They sold out. They had fun doing what they were. They enjoyed making these movies. You can tell it's on the screen. So
yeah, I personally would pick that as my favorite of the first three, and that and American Ninja is my two favorite of all the 8 that we're talking about today. But it was a lot of fun that one. They did well. I don't know. God knows what budget they used for that. I mean, Austin, was it a bigger budget than the first one, or any idea?
You're muted, Austin.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's probably because they had to shoot in the U.S. It would have been just more expensive.
Yeah.
The budget was $700,000, and it made $14 million at the box office.
Wow!
See, that's what
that's a business model right there.
Yeah, and then God knows how many VHSs that sold over the.
Oh yeah, and mind you, that's it. That's all that money in early '80s dollars.
That's
right. Like,
wow.
That's a nice little chunk of change.
It's like 100 million now. But they, you would think then they'd say, you know what, we'll make the next one with 3 times the budget and market the shit out of it. Yeah, let's see if we can cut
they
that
use
down.
the next one for the performance enhances.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that one though. I think everybody likes.
I do too. I feel like between Revenge of the Ninja, and I don't know what the timeline is on this. I think it fits in between the release schedule of Revenge of the Ninja and Ninja 3: The Domination. I feel like there's a 4th Ninja movie that is not credited as part of the series, but it is, and that's Pray for Death.
Pray for
straight
Death.
up. It is straight up a Sho Kosugi Revenge of the Ninja sequel.
Kosugi, Furstenberg, yeah, just Pray for Death is a great movie, and it would have fitted extremely well in these, but it wasn't canon, was it?
Transworld Entertainment.
It was canon, I thought.
No, I thought it was...
Yeah, Transworld.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I couldn't include it. Really, it fits perfectly, but wasn't canon.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
No, I only realized that because I read the very wonderful Canon Film Guides by Austin Trunick.
He also did a fun movie called 9 Deaths of the Ninja, right in between his canon period, and it's a goofy, almost it's Sho Kosugi comedy.
Is it around this time that he starts doing the ninja theater thing?
Yeah, those were part of his Transworld deal. Transworld put all those tapes out, the big fat clamshells.
Yes.
Courtney, are you leaving, or is it Stunt Brat that's leaving?
No, I'm right here.
You are okay. So
I'm writing
thank
in
you
the
for
chat.
being here, Lass.
Cheers
Is
to
there
the
anything you? Well, I know there is something you'd like to promote before you go. So.
Oh, I'm not leaving.
Oh, I thought you were leaving. Oh, don't promote
Unless Brad is
anything
saying
then.
bye to me, I think she's leaving.
Oh,
right?
well, that's what I said. Are you leaving or is it Stunt Brat? Stunt Brat has been in so many movies. We've got to get her
She's
on a
been in
show.
canon movies she was talking about.
We
She
need to
has.
get her on a show. Sorry about that, Courtney. I wasn't trying to get rid of you. Well,
I mean, I am promoting something. I'm about to drop it in the chat. So.
Yeah, just drop the link in the chat. Yeah, and we'll talk about it in a little while. So we'll move on to number 3 in the trilogy, which is really only a trilogy because Sho Kosugi is in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any other continuity of any kind, character or anything. But what does that matter? I do prefer the other poster for this, the Italian one, which was under they called it Trancers. Not the time traveling movie, but this is still Ninja 3, the Dominatrix. It looks like the Dominatrix, but not a bad poster, you know. But yeah, so this time they're going for a bit of Lucinda Dickey action, and Sho Kosugi, I think,
sex appeal. Yes.
Sex appeal wasn't that happy. Well, let's play the trailer and see what everybody.
Well,
thinks.
they needed something to put on Skinamax back then. You know?
They did. Let's have a wee look at the trailer for this one. Ninja 3, the Domination. I keep wanting to call it the Dominatrix.
Dominatrix, right? Yeah.
There we go.
He is the most feared and powerful warrior. A ninja who breaks from ancient tradition and explodes onto America.
Is it going to be exploding?
Someone's going to explode at some point.
His soul possesses the body of an innocent woman and transforms her.
So the first thing I'd like to say is that this makes golf look far more interesting.
Full contact golf?
Yeah.
James Hong.
Oh yeah, James Hong. Also, I've never seen a golf course with so many cops on it, except, well, not in uniform anyway.
Destroy a ninja.
James
Her
Hong.
only hope is Yamada, the master ninja, who has been sent to destroy him.
There's some super action in this. That's good.
Where Revenge of the Ninja left off, Ninja 3 begins. An epic struggle of superhuman strength and supernatural forces. Ninja 3, the Domination.
Well, there you have it. So, Austin or Tom or Razor or all of you, how would you summarize the plot of this crazy movie?
Well, yeah, aerobics instructor / telephone pole operator witnesses the death of a evil ninja, a vaguely evil ninja, never really explained, and he possesses her body and gets revenge on all of the cops who were involved with his death. So, of course, this aerobics instructor ends up dating a cop on the LA police force, but she's also the one at night, like, dressing up as a ninja and going out and killing them all. So that gets awkward real fast. And yeah, they have to exercise her. Then they have to bring in Sho Kosugi eventually to save the day, because only a ninja can stop a ninja.
Apparently.
That's the tie between all three. That's rad.
And what was it? I mean, they brought him in from where? Where was he? Like just some kind of a ninja consultant out there, or?
I think it's Japan, but it was probably just one of Canon's like offices.
So this is never really truly explained in the movie, but this guy wanders into a cave and finds some old ninja armor and suddenly becomes evil. Is pretty much the way it goes. Yeah.
Realistic.
And then he goes out and inhabits Lucinda Dickey, who then tears up a golf course for about 10 minutes of insane violence, killing cops, golfers, crushing golf balls, one-handing golf carts in the air. It's a fantastic sequence, but no apparent reason. I mean, we all hate golf, so maybe that's what it is.
Right.
Now this looks like Arizona.
That does. It really does. It looks like somewhere in Sedona.
Yeah, it does. But
in the script, the guy that is like the target of this like assassination attempt on this golf course is just described as important nuclear scientist.
Because we all know that there's unimportant nuclear scientists.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
not important.
That really does look like Arizona. I don't know where that is. It could just as easily be Southern California, though.
It could be, but to me, the first thing I thought was Arizona. But you've got this golf course. All of a sudden, has got thousands of cops on it. I mean, I know a lot of cops like to play golf, but usually not in uniform with helicopters. So they got here really pretty quick.
Yeah, like the response time, for crying out loud.
There's a Dunkin' Donuts next door. That's what's going on.
That's true, yeah.
This whole scene is just an incredible Steve Lambert performance. He plays like every cop and every ninja in this like scene.
Yeah. He's brilliant.
I love the blowgun into the revolver that blows it up for some reason. Like what?
I wish we had that captured, but yeah, right in the barrel, boom.
Beautiful.
And then he won't die. He just won't die.
No, that's beautiful. This whole sequence, like no point to it, none. By the way, you guys mentioned like they got a woman so that they could have some skin or whatever. I don't think there's actually any nudity in this, if I remember.
No,
correctly.
not at all. She's got.
Don't need it. Remember, they had those aerobicized videos on Showtime, man, that people were just checking out. I mean, it was crazy. Yeah.
And here she is, the lineman for the county, the Wichita lineman herself. And she's just minding her own business, and a dead demonic ninja possesses her.
Right.
So
She's just sitting there with her fully feathered hair and makeup ready to go.
I mean, I've met a few linemen in the past, and none of them, their hair was
None
never
of them
as
look
well
like
made.
that. No.
Right.
Women are always ready. Come on.
But there's a supernatural demonic bit that Canon always wanted to bring into these movies as often as they could. Like it wasn't enough that I think Austin might have had connection problems again. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's the closest you'll get to skin in this movie. She's wearing a little tank top, but
must be cold in there.
Explain to us what happened in the golf course. Well, I don't know. I was up a pole. I was climbing onto a pole at the time.
So here's the thing. I think about the time you get to the phrase ninja army, I think you probably have a problem.
Yeah, I think so. Well, this is it. There's a ninja army.
Look out.
Another recurring theme in these movies, particularly in the American Ninja series, was that ninjas were being used as armies rather than just your average mercenary. You know?
Right.
Which does that go back? Does that go back to You Only Live Twice? Where they fucking. By the way, you just described the climax of You Only Live Twice out loud, and it's
That's right. Yeah,
you can tell that it's written by Roald Dahl, and it's like so they need to find a spaceship that eats other spaceships, which happens to be hidden in an underground volcano lair. So Sean Connery gets Japanese surgery so he can lead an army of ninjas into the underground volcano lair.
Yes, and specifically ninjas. We asked for ninjas.
Amazing.
In a Japanese fishing village.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still think that was the first American appearance of ninjas, to be honest. Was that movie.
Could be, yeah, could be. But here she is getting fresh with him.
Right.
The good guy. He's a good guy, but you know.
Not long for this
we're
world.
getting a little rumpy pumpy in the movie.
All right.
No, like you said earlier, Razor, they're having sex, therefore he needs to die.
Someone's gonna die. Actually, I don't think this pair do die.
Yeah. I dig the music video set apartment. Like seriously, you've got like the LED background lighting. Like either she's an e-girl or fucking I don't know.
And it's this is now 1984, so it's heavy MTV video era.
Big time.
Yeah,
big time.
So now they're going for they need expert help.
Right.
She's kind of cute, but
Lucinda is cute, man.
She's kind of cute. And I know she wasn't into martial
She's
arts.
She's not bad in the movie, although there are many times when you can just feel from her, like it's just radiating off her. What the fuck is going on in this movie? What the fuck?
Menahem told me this would be good for my career.
Right? Like you could just
you can almost see that in
tell.
one of the scenes where she's like, "Remind me to kill my agent."
Right?
They told me I'd get to dance in this one.
Right. But she's all the same. She's not bad in it, really.
No, she's not bad. This is look at the smoke-filled bathroom or bedroom.
This is what I'm talking about. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the less Dirty Harry film, The Deadpool, where they're filming the Exorcist music video with Guns N' Roses and Jim Carrey and all. Like that's the same bedroom.
Yes,
how about the closet scene in Poltergeist? Yeah. I like that too.
Well,
I think this was an allegory.
Someone in the chat said they couldn't afford bras and they were burning them to get the smoke for these scenes.
Well, it's canon. I wouldn't be surprised. But there's an allegory there about coming out of the closet, I'm sure. But and so Demon Ninja is still doing shit. I can't remember why Demon Ninja is doing shit though.
Inconspicuous.
That's right.
Hey, you think? Hey guys, there was a murder. You think it might have something to do with the sinister Japanese guy and the evil eye patch?
With the eye patch.
The problem with the eye patch is I want to go up and put a quarter in it.
Right? It's like
it's
the eye of Sauron, or
if I put a quarter in it, it will kill somebody for me.
Oh man, too much.
Yeah, it's still a great movie, but fuck, it's funny. Yeah. Internationals. Oh no. Oh well. Okay, I might get away with that. She's wearing.
It's cold in this place, man.
Right.
I think I edited out any problematic.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to remind you that legs.
That's right.
That beard.
Yes.
Please note, anyone with legs in this scene will be killed.
You're right.
See, I definitely want to put money in that. Oh, here we go. She's fairly prudendish there, I would have to say. But,
she's working the Sigourney Weaver and Alien look.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You beat me to it.
Right.
And I think
Not
I just
the
tweeted,
same
is
thing.
this eye patch literally the cross guard from a freaking katana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know, Austin. You might know some background of some of these.
James Hong, because it's a ninja movie and it's the law.
Yeah.
He's looking for the girl with green eyes.
Yes.
So,
No.
So this scene was the Lucinda Dickey's audition scene. She had to do like the demonic possession, like exorcism scene. Like that was what they gave her to read when she came in. She was a solid gold dancer. If anybody remembers Solid Gold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
great.
That's what she was doing when she.
What blows my mind is clearly she kind of looks like her and is sort of set up to look like her, and the plot suggests this is supposed to be kind of a Linda Blair-ish kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no way Linda Blair would not have been willing to do this movie. The kind of shit she was making at this time.
Those prison movies she was in and stuff. Oh my God, yeah. Absolutely.
You wonder why they didn't ring her up.
Sorry, I'm just reading a quote from it's referring to the previous movie, Roger McCallum on Rumble, Revenge School, famous for the anti-bullying program.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I missed that earlier, Roger. That's funny.
He's doing the helicopter. Oh, I love this. Where he nods nonchalantly and then bops their heads together like a fucking Disney cartoon.
Anti-bullying program.
Ladies and gentlemen, Yoplait paid for this fucking insert.
Yeah.
Right there, she reminds me of Terminator. What's her name? I can't think of her name right now. Sorry.
Linda Hamilton?
Linda
She's
Hamilton. Discount Linda Hamilton. Exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Everyone's discount somebody.
Yeah.
It's canon. But yeah, she's it's almost a touch of the Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters as well. Inhabited by the demon.
Oh, a Nagel. I missed that artwork, dude. That is some cool stuff.
That shit was all over the place.
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, James
That
Hong.
seems to be
good choice.
Canon's casting guideline, though. It's just like, don't get me that person.
What is
They
that?
cost money. Get me somebody that looks like them and needs a job.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that car? Does anybody know about cars? I'm not a big car guy.
I was thinking the same thing. The white car. Is that what you were talking about?
Oh, I missed it now. Yeah, I think I might have gone back too far. We'll go from
There's
there.
a nagel.
Yeah, I used to steal that look for myself in high school.
Yeah. There you go. It's a good look.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, what is that car?
That car right there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that an Alfa Romeo of some kind?
I was going to say Aston Martin, but it's definitely not.
It looks Italian, but I could be wrong. It's probably Japanese. It's a Honda.
Knowing how cheap Canon
it's
was,
a
it's probably
two-seater of some
Fiat.
sort. I'm not sure.
I can't see that.
I bet you could on the Blu-ray.
Right?
No, it just looks even grainier on the Blu-ray. Honestly,
probably.
as I said earlier, these movies were, it's like Shakespeare and Klingon. These movies were meant to be seen in the original VHS. It's just not the same experience. Whether a Stingray, somebody says it could be a Stingray. I really don't know the Maserati.
No, that's not a Stingray.
I was going to say, considering how cheap Canon was, it probably was a Fiat.
I was thinking it was like an MG.
I'm surprised it's not a Yugo.
Yeah.
A Yugo, yeah.
They couldn't find one that ran.
Hey, there's one of these movies that's got an El Camino in them. I think one of the American Ninjas.
Right.
It's got a really neat El Camino.
If they had gotten up to Ninja 4,
Ford Maverick.
Ford
Maverick.
rolling up in a Pinto.
Ford Maverick. So someone's getting shot while the shooting is going on here. Oh, was this at a funeral for the cops that died?
I guess.
Because that must have been a big funeral.
No kidding.
It's like,
They're all closed caskets.
Yeah, that golf club's not going to be able to sign up new members very easily. That's for sure.
Yeah, she kicks a tombstone in half here in this scene. I kind of love that.
But I think this is Lambert doubling for Lucinda Dickey as well.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't do that now because a man wouldn't be allowed to double for a woman. Probably.
And there were probably not as many female martial artists in Hollywood at that time, I would think. You know, I mean, I remember it was a big deal when Cynthia Rothrock started making movies and whatnot.
Yeah. So, heading towards the brutal climax, as the actress said to the bishop. And I think that the climax of this one's really because you just can't kill this guy. He's a demon ninja.
Yeah, it's great. If you look, and these movies inspired so much ninja media. My god! You look at the Daredevil comics that started to have ninjas in them, which was huge in the late 70s, early 80s. It was right around the same time, which is how you get the Ninja Turtles later on and whatever. And if you look at, for example, the Shredder when he's got his helmet off in those 80s Turtles comics, he looks like Sho Kosugi. And the same thing is true of some of the hand ninjas in the Daredevil comics. They take their regalia off and they look like Sho Kosugi. Everybody who was a ninja looked like Sho Kosugi at this time. Like I
was going to ask that. Like, it seems like these movies would have had to have a major influence on, you know, not only the Ninja Turtles, but also like, you know, some of the early ninja video games like Ninja Gaiden and Tenchu.
Well, I talked about this in my Rageaholic Cinema on Revenge of the Ninja, but there's that scene with the van chase.
Yep.
And there's a moment when Sho Kosugi flips from the hood of the car and like with both legs goes in the windshield, like kicks in the windshield and whatever. Frank Miller has been ripping that off in his comics ever since. He did that with Marv in Sin City. If you remember that movie, that's in the comics. He copied it completely. He was obsessed with these movies. Like there's no question.
The reason I paused it here, sorry, Austin. The reason I paused it here was that before this, her girlfriend pulls a gun on her. Kids in the audience, you do not pull a gun on your girlfriend unless she is a demon ninja. That's the only excuse you've got. So.
Might be able to get
sorry, in which case, don't do it anyway. You'll just make her mad.
Although honestly, in California, you probably get arrested for pulling the gun on the demon ninja.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like one of the big arguments that Sho Kosugi had with Menachem while making Enter the Ninja is Menachem of course, calls it Enter the Ninja. He's a big Enter the Dragon fan. He's trying to knock the title off there, but he wanted nunchucks. Because Bruce Lee had nunchucks in Enter the Dragon, and the show said no, a ninja wouldn't use that. That's not like a stealthy weapon. But Menachem won. He was the director, and I mean, Michelangelo probably has nunchucks because of that argument Menachem Golan had with show.
You could have very streamlined ones that are quiet, like instead of noisy.
Yeah, if you notice, like pretty much all the weaponry from these movies and whatnot wound up popping up, and Daredevil and Ninja Turtles and all the ninja media that came after. And then, of course, all the influence when you get into video games with stuff like Shinobi and all that stuff. Shinobi. Like, dude, this was huge. Tenshu and all.
Isn't Shinobi an old term for ninja? Like, there's some correlation between the two.
It's it's a subset. Like, basically, like as far as I understand, Shinobi were basically like spies and covert agents, whereas ninja were more what we would call wet work guys.
Yeah, dirty work, wet work. Yeah. Somebody thinks it's a Fiat 850 Sport Spider. That actually might make sense.
Right.
For the car.
Davina said that a while back.
Yeah, Davina said it. Yeah.
To it.
So you're in a flat open desert with nowhere to hide. You throw a smoke pellet. How the fuck did they not see you running? Like, how does that even work?
What is it? A 2 mile wide?
You're a ninja.
Right? Like, I see you. You're behind that rock over there. Yeah. I literally saw you go over there. What the fuck?
Now, the bit about this is Lucinda Dickey and her boyfriend kind of stand and watch this entire fight without any real threat. They're just standing there canoodling and kissing and, watching this shit going down.
Lucinda's got an amazing wig in these scenes too. She was shooting Breaking at this time, and they had to come reshoot the ending. So her hair is pretty amazing.
Austin,
she's got a little Darth Vader helmet going on there.
Austin, sure they've got time to kiss. Austin, surely the canon wouldn't make their actors shoot more than one movie at the same time.
Oh, I would never do such a thing.
Heavens forfend.
Heaven forfend they would do that.
And Austin can fact check me on this, but they spent almost 3 times as much on this movie than they spent on Revenge of the Ninja.
And they did. Okay. They bucked the train.
I keep thinking they're going to say Revenge of the Nerds. I'm sorry. Every time I keep going to that.
And basically that was it. I think we missed I think the bit we missed there is the earthquake, where the demon ninja goes down the crack in the ground, and then Kasugi has to throw his rope up and haul himself up when the earth is shaking, and I guess the demon was dying. That's the implication.
Amazing.
You have to take all canon budgets with a grain of salt, because
I think I remember
these movies, and people were it helped for them to say they spent more.
So I'm just going to wrap up the poll I've been running this entire time, because it's a very scientific poll. There is some extra votes in a mailbox just about to arrive, but we'll wrap it up. It's set in Arizona after all, so let's. Well, funny that vote button wasn't working in this poll. Isn't that weird?
4 a.m. vote dump.
4 a.m. vote dump is just about it. So this was a simplistic poll, and we're going to do one for the American Ninja movies. This was, if it ever shows, just asking people what their favorite of the trilogy was. We had 178 votes, so thank you for that. So the winner was I Can't Choose Between My Children at 47%. No. Some people have no difficulty in choosing between their children, but that's another story.
Right.
Enter the Ninja at 23%, Revenge of the Ninja at 20%, and Ninja 3, The Dominatrix at 7%.
All right.
So I would have gone Revenge of the Ninja, so I've just got another 200,000 ballots right here. I win. What about you guys? Out of the three of them, is there a preference?
Revenge for me.
I like all three, but Enter the Ninja, it comes out a little ahead.
That's the only one I really remember.
Sorry, followed by Ninja 3, because as a kid I was fascinated with that movie.
Revenge is
the one I've seen the most too.
Revenge is the apotheotic ninja movie. Like all the ninja exploitation that happened, especially in Germany for some reason. Germany got really into the ninja phenomena,
and they had
as did Italy.
Yeah, didn't
like,
they
all that
change the
comes from-
titles in Germany? Like it was American Warrior or something, or
Yeah, all kinds of crazy. You'll
Like,
see to this day, you'll still see posters, that crazy airbrushed alternate posters of all these movies with crazy alternate titles you've never heard of, and it's all movies that you've seen or seen clips of.
They did the same thing with Godzilla movies over in Germany too.
You know which one the dirty old man of the bunch likes? Give me the dominatrix all day long.
You want the dominatrix?
No,
Of course.
What about you, Courtney?
I said Enter because that's
went
the only
Enter.
one I really remember that
Yeah.
much of.
Yeah. John, did you have a preference?
Well, I chose the I can't choose between my children, but if I really have to, it's going to be Revenge.
Revenge, yeah. Tom, have you?
Yeah, I kind of went with Revenge earlier, although I'm kind of surprised that the Domination didn't do better.
Yeah,
I
that
kind
was
of
a
figured
pretty
it was
low
going to be
score.
split across the board, pretty much.
Yeah,
It's
I was
not. I
surprised.
mean, if I have a critique of Ninja 3, it's that it has two big action sequences, but there's a big lull in the middle.
Yeah.
It's not as action packed as the second, or even the
Right, but
first
that's
one.
the one that I remember the most from a kid, and like I said, it was probably the first one I saw. But no, I just remember it being so prominent, and yeah.
I often feel if you took the opening sequence from 3 and put it into 2, you'd have the perfect movie.
Yeah.
You know, because the ending of 2 is such a great sequence on the rooftops.
Well, the
The
important
opening-
thing is that Brie Larson was able to pave the way for people like Lucinda Dickey.
True, and J-Law was there too. Sometimes, yeah.
I was about to say J-Law was there for sure.
Jennifer Lawrence
Yeah.
was the original Demon Ninja.
Right.
She's
Jennifer
the one
Lawrence.
who-
Sorry, Jennifer Lawrence. I mixed her
That's
up.
what you meant. Yeah, and Jennifer Lawrence, we have to thank her for turning down the roles that got us Chuck Norris. I mean, if it wasn't for her, I mean,
indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, you really didn't know that the old granny and the Revenge was actually Jennifer Lawrence in
That
makeup.
was Jennifer Lawrence, yeah. So, are you guys okay for time? Because I got a few more movies to do. I just do a check.
I got
Everybody-
maybe like 20, 30 minutes at the most.
So we'll press
Yeah,
on,
same.
Tom. Now.
If you're gonna take a little break, I will say goodbye so I don't have to interrupt.
Yeah, I got to go to 70.
Prepping to do.
Yeah, I mean, Razor, Austin, you guys okay for a bit longer?
I'll stick through the first American Ninja at least. I can't.
Okay, we'll do that.
go there,
We'll do
but
that.
yeah, I'm running out of gas, unfortunately.
No,
I still wanted to hear what his favorite canon movie was, though. Did he say,
Mine.
Austin?
Oh,
Yeah.
Revenge of the Ninja.
That is your favorite.
Nice. He's been saying it the whole show. Yeah.
So
Well, I thought that was out of the ninja ones. I didn't know if like of all.
No, that is
Razor,
the
how
whole
are you for
shot.
time right now? Are you? you got a lot of time?
I'll stick around about at the same time. I mean, it's
So
been a
what-
couple of hours.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll do American Ninja. If we don't get to the others, no problem. We'll save that for another time. But let's do American Ninja because it is my favorite of the 5 American Ninja movies.
Cool.
So let's do that. So let me, and hopefully everybody in the chat is good and you're all having a good time. Thanks for sticking with us. You've been awesome. I wish we could have highlighted more of your chats, but thanks for being here.
They're tearing it up for sure.
These
No
are
doubt.
fun. Yeah, the chat's been these
The
are
best
such
chat on YouTube,
Indeed,
boys and
it's
girls.
such fun to have you all here to do this. You know, when we're doing our shows about metal, we get about 40 people. You know, but this is
This is movies, baby. What's up?
Our metal streams don't get quite as many. Dio got a few. We got a few for the Dio, but right. Let's show the poster first. So there we go. So that's one of the posters. There's obviously multiple. So I like
That's a
this one.
great fucking poster.
It's a. This is my favorite. Yeah, American Ninja.
It's like
I
Street
also
Fighter meets
love that
Pac-Man.
we could still call it the Orient. The,
Yes.
the
The
deadliest art of the
mysterious.
savage Orient.
Well, you can still call it Orient. You just can't call it the Orient because the word "the" is prejudicial
Right.
now.
It's the is the
It's just
problem.
Orient.
Yeah.
So that's it. It is a beautiful poster, and now we're into 1985. It's the first American Ninja. I think it's one of the most enjoyable and badass movies ever made. That's just me. As I say, it's got the ultimate duo, Jackson and Armstrong. Forget your others. Oh,
I
mean, it
probably
also
did
kind-
this out like 2 hours ago.
Nice. Look at that. There you go.
I'm just
Making
gonna
big.
get that in the stream. I'm gonna
Morris.
hang on. There we go. Got it.
ninja.
Oh, is that the one that? Yeah, Chuck Norris.
I
is
was
his
going to say,
face-
you would think that Chuck Norris would have been their first choice. I was thinking that earlier. Yeah.
Well,
That's Steve Lambert's body there too. That his head is on.
I mean, I can see where he was going because you can see this is the mid '80s, right? So he's moving away from the ninja and kung fu movies. Like he had already done. I mean, look, Chuck Norris's career kind of comes in two spurts. It's like everything before Lone Wolf McQuade, and then everything after Lone Wolf McQuade. After Lone Wolf McQuade, he's the gun guy and the op guy, and before Lone Wolf McQuade, he's the kung fu guy. So that's I feel
Good
like
guys
he
wear
was in
black.
the-
My favorite one. Yeah.
He was in the second part of the non-kung fu part of his career, so I can see why he wasn't keen on doing another ninja movie.
Yeah,
because he's just done the Octagon.
Yeah, he done the Octagon.
44 when he signed his his like first Canon deal, so he didn't want to be shoehorned, typecast into the kung fu guy anymore.
But what that became, I think, Austin, if correct me if I'm wrong, was that became Invasion USA.
Oh yeah. You can even tell by the
which we
tagline.
kind of talked about that earlier.
Yeah. So let me show the trailer just for we'll get an idea of what we're dealing with. So here we go. Cannon.
Boom!
Fired out of a cannon.
Love it.
Oh.
For 2,000 years, the sacred art of the ninja has been guarded in the East.
Is it really sacred though?
Seems like everybody's learning it.
I know.
It has come to the West.
Remember what is hidden deep.
There's some
He
size.
is the only soldier,
Find what is hidden deep.
Unknown.
the only American
Who is he?
who is capable of defeating
That man's got a
the
scar. He's a
secret
villain.
Black Star Army.
This movie taught me everything
You learn everything
The
you
mission
know about
to
Tom from
hijack
this.
U.S. military.
That's right. I learned how to
Little
kick
known
ass.
fact, this is actually Bad Tom's origin story.
This is a
It
training
is.
video.
That's right. It's Bat Tom's origin story. Who knew Bat Tom looked like Steve James under that mask?
I like
Learned
that the
the sacred art of
ninjas
ninjutsu in Vietnam.
take the time to coordinate their front flips. They've got the synchronized front
That's
flips.
right. And they're always giving signals to each other.
You think they practice that off hours? You know,
Maybe
on
they're just
three,
really-
guys. Not when I say two and then three. Just on three. No.
This is so badass.
Oh
Hey,
yes!
Rambo when he got Curtis Jackson.
Curtis Jackson. I love that guy. Oh, look at this. Ninja rocket launchers on the
Yes.
American
Boom!
Warrior.
And there it is. Smoldering.
Warrior. Oh, that was good. So let's show
Now,
some
was it
stills.
also called American Warrior in the UK as well because of the whole ninja problem?
Yeah, they called it, I think, in the UK American Warrior, which was very confusing when they changed it back to American Ninja later. I thought, is this a different movie on VHS?
Yeah, you guys ended over there in the UK for some reason they had the stigma with the word ninja, obviously being because it meant assassin. And then all of a sudden here, a couple of years back, they just quit worrying about it. It's weird.
I think it was a
Which is
stigma with
really
the word American. I'm just
Yeah. You would wonder why. Wasn't it okay? I thought it was originally because it's like ethnic discrimination or blah blah blah, but it's more like violence, more of like a violence censorship.
It was a violence
Yeah.
thing, Razor. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing with nunchucks. Like they didn't like nunchucks depicted because they were easy to make. So that's why in Ninja Turtles, it was the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles and Michelangelo. They always had to animate two separate versions.
They're
And that's
easy to
why
make, unlike Donatello's staff.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking too. Like, or it's not that difficult to make a sword either, if you really think about it. But yeah,
In case anyone thought the UK's banning of any kind of weapon was a new phenomenon,
right?
Yeah. You can't even have a wooden spoon now in the UK. It's so bad.
So, yeah, so basically
just
like
ban any kind of sharp pointed kitchen knives.
They
or some
did.
shit?
They actually banned looking sideways at somebody because that's violence.
That's. I mean, let's face it. That's,
So-
that's a call to violence right there.
Yeah, so the basics of this is it's the U.S. Army in the Philippines. I think it was even set in the Philippines? Or, it's filmed there anyway, and they had a great crew according to the Canon film guide. Austin, you said the crew was experienced.
These were the guys who'd worked on Apocalypse Now. They had been there with Coppola the whole time, and so
this
they
is
had
just the production crew from Apocalypse Now. Everyone forgot them, so they're just kind of still there.
Yeah. This one was a breeze for them after that movie. But,
oh yeah.
So and Joe here, we've not really got his whole backstory, but Joe Armstrong is a twice orphaned, really, lost his real parents, adopted by Japanese guy on island that doesn't know war is over, who immediately teaches him jujitsu, ninjutsu, and then American troops blow him up and he loses his memory. So in effect, orphaned twice, and he's hurt someone in a bar, so he has to join the army or go to prison. I think that's right, isn't it?
That look.
That look. And that's the general's daughter or the commander's daughter or whatever.
Right.
So the army setting was good. I actually liked the army setting. It allowed a lot more flexibility of what they could do, I think.
Well, and at that time, it was kind of getting more common for the military men to know karate and other martial arts. Like, my dad learned a little bit of taekwondo and karate when he was in the Navy and shit. So,
but Joe doesn't get a lot of love from his colleagues, and he saves that with all the great use of the implements. He saves the convoy, the supply convoy, but some of the other soldiers die, and everyone blames him, which is grossly unfair. I mean, can't they see he's the best looking guy in the whole division? Come on.
Well, I mean, that's not hard. Noticing a distinct lack of uniform and grooming regulations here.
We got to say Army Rangers, in fact, I believe they are.
I'm not cutting my hair.
That makes sense now. The long hair and all the,
because the Marines and American Ninja 2, they're
model Marines. Season starts next month. I'm not cutting my hair.
So that's the basic back plot, but there's bad guys who are up to evil shit, stealing US supplies, and they have an entire ninja army to do it.
As you do.
Yeah, like not just a handful of ninjas, they have a ninja army.
Nice. They've got the color coordination. They got the guys, the fucking mustard ninjas.
I want
and
to
the
be
Kool-Aid
the pink,
ninjas.
I want to be the pink ninja.
Right.
I like the red.
Are we seeing the birth of the Power Rangers in real time?
A little bit.
I could see that, yeah. As Paulie said quite rightly, Tom plays with his nunchucks every night.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
I have several pair. So.
Yeah. But so there's an entire ninja academy here. Like, not just
well, as you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's like the second and third movies, they have ninja replicators where thousands of ninjas can appear and fight at will.
Exactly. And how does the Ninja Academy work? Can you get like a bachelor's in ninja or like a master? Is there like a ninja doctorate program or
only if you do the gender studies program first?
Right. See, I would take like a weekend course at the Ninja Learning Annex or something like
the Ninja Community College.
Ninja Community College. So by this point in the movie, Michael Dudikoff has only said like 3 words. I think it's 15 minutes in and he doesn't say a lot. But now Steve James and co are going to pick on him. They think.
Yeah.
This is fun. This whole bit is fun. The bucket and everything. The bucket scene. And no matter what Steve James does, Dudikoff can respond, and he's doing it subconsciously. He doesn't know how he learned all this stuff. He just knows it.
Right.
That's right. It's like Jason Bourne. He lost his memory, and yet he could still kick ass. Same thing.
Right.
So he's like Jason Bourne beats Rain Man.
That's right. But this is the start of a brilliant partnership. Obviously, we skipped the bucket scene there, but I had it in my montage for the last show.
I like they take all this care and then they give him the wrong size sunglasses. That's amazing.
Well, it's the 80s. Everyone wore huge sunglasses. Everybody.
Well, not just that. They sit on his face wrong. Like they're not fitted for him specifically. It's like they got some fucking dollar store sunglasses. And gave them to him.
So
they would buy Sunglass Hut.
Critical ninja theory.
Yes.
Critical ninja.
There we go. There's the meme right there.
There's the meme right there, yeah. But yeah, these are badass. And he looks good. He just looks good no matter what he's doing. He looks good in the
Top
uniform.
gun right there.
Yeah. It looks good. Is this the one where he does the motorbike chase on the dock, or is it the second one?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. But there's the one where he does the motorcycle chase, the bad guys on the dock, and the whole thing is set up so that he can drive through everything on a motorbike. Like all the stalls on the dock selling shit, I've got a gap just wide enough down the middle.
Yeah, this is the one where he does the jump, like
the
big
jump.
jump on the bike.
Yeah. Right. And the bad guys immediately tag him as dangerous.
So wait a minute. So all Top Gun was they took American Ninja and mixed it with Iron Eagle?
I think you're onto something, Tom.
A little bit.
They pulled a Golden Globus on Golden Globus.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cannon should sue. And in fact, I think the
Those fuckers
chase
stole our idea.
The chase I'm thinking of is not even on a motorbike; he's on a scooter of some kind. But, yeah, here he is. Now this is the corrupt sergeant, isn't it?
You don't have to smolder at the sergeant, Michael.
Right.
You don't have
Kiss
to.
me.
You look at a sergeant major like that, you're probably about to get hit.
Well, there's a fine line between smoldering and angry for him. That's
I think the smolder is just his resting face.
Yeah, this is where they attack him, and I think this is where he gets on the bike, and everything he drives through on it is just set up for the stunts to work perfectly.
I like how you fucking an entire city, and he finds the ninja warehouse.
The ninja warehouse. Well, they got to store them somewhere, Razor. Ninjas have to be stored.
They need to be trained and stored somewhere when they're not busy. Yeah. Like
right next to
in all those
Ninja
movies where they
Warehouse
just
video.
open the door, like in Wayne's World, and they have a bunch of ninjas training. Where do you think they come from? You know, it's like
It's kind of like at the end of. Like at the end of Cobra, when they end up in that factory, like what is that factory for? Just murder? Like what is that for?
Yeah.
It's just a murder factory.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just like, did you guys go through the book and intentionally not do every safety feature known to man?
Yeah.
when it comes to canon in general, yes.
Yeah.
I saw Stunt Brat in the chat earlier. I don't know if she ever worked on any canon projects.
I think
she did.
You don't have to pay him later.
I think she did, but
and they were generally non-union shit, so I doubt they had to worry about a lot of that crap.
But I think Austin's in trouble again. I did love this sequence. I mean, he's clinging onto the truck and he's on the scooter. He drives through stalls on it. He goes, everything falls over so he can do the jump. It's pretty neat.
Because I know, for instance, Enter the Ninja earlier, if Austin's back, he can probably tell me or not which one more people were hurt on, but I believe Enter the Ninja had a lot of people get hurt on it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're working on these movies, especially with like foreign stuntmen and things like that, there's the jump that Michael Dudikoff, his character does here. Steve Lambert had to do it because literally none of the Filipino stuntmen were like, this is crazy, like we're gonna die if we do it, and he ended up breaking both his wrists, I think.
Nice.
Doing the stunt himself.
Yeah.
Back when they just told you to walk that kind of shit off.
That's right. Well,
just walk it off. He'll be fine.
I was on Roman of the Empire stream. We were talking about the Road Warrior, and of course we've got that famous sequence of the guy stuntman there breaking his leg, which they left in the movie, of course, when he flies.
Yeah, the guy told him to use it in there. That's the other thing too.
And he kept making the movie. That's the most ridiculous part of it. He kept making the movie.
Yeah.
That's I mean, Sword and the Sorcerer. You watch a guy die in that, and our Pune was just like, it was a good shot. We couldn't not use it.
Can't not use that. Yeah.
Harsh.
Yeah,
I remember Vernon Wells telling us stories about that, but that's what he said. Like, yeah, a lot of those guys were so tough and rough. They're like, they get pissy if you wouldn't use that kind of shit.
And I can't quite remember what
it was almost like a badge of honor kind of thing. Sorry.
No, go ahead, mate. No, you keep going.
Well, that's all I was gonna say. It's like a bad. It's like I get hurt doing that. I'm a stuntman. It's like you use that take. You know what I mean? Kind of like when Stallone, like if in that scene in Rambo, when he hits the wood when he's falling down the cliff, and he hits that branch and he screeches. That's his real scream because he broke like 2 ribs doing that.
I didn't
And he told him to make sure to keep that in there. He's like, yeah, you.
Well,
use
of course,
that
the
tape.
crazy, the most obvious example of that is, was it Jackie Chan in Super Cop where he fell down the damn tree?
Obviously, yeah.
Fucking cracked his brain open and had to have brain surgery and left it in the damn movie.
I think Jackie Chan makes sure you use a lot of that shit. Yeah, when he doesn't fuck it up at the end anyway.
I'm trying to think of the movie where, did you just mention it maybe, where somebody fell off and broke their leg and doing a stunt? It was either not Kurt Russell, but oh god, it'll come back to me later. But yeah, they actually kept it in.
Yeah. A lot of that back then. Like I said, it's like a badge of honor for a lot of those guys. I don't know if Stunt Brad's still in the chat or not, but can verify that or not. But that's kind of what it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine like old school like stunt guys in Hollywood are almost like vets where like they'll get together in like groups and be like, yeah, you see this scar? Rambo 3.
Like the Jaws scenes, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about all this part of the movie is that every one of these commanding officers, they're all corrupt as fuck or stupid as, your convoys are being raided by somebody and you're blaming the one guy that actually fought back. Like, are you going to do something about it?
Right.
No, we'll just continue to hassle our own guys that are trying to do something about it. But that's classic movie stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But so the troops have to take things into their own hands.
I mean, it is called military intelligence for a reason.
Well, yeah, and plus it's kind of like a military. It's kind of like a military version of the police chief from the Dirty Harry movies. Damn it! You saved the entire city. I want your desk and badge on my gun tomorrow morning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, lose his mind and then of course Dirty Harry gets to be like, well, then you can jam my badge up your ass or something that.
Sideways.
Isn't military intelligence an oxymoron?
Right.
Pretty much. It's where the term oxymoron is originated from, I believe.
Yep.
So Dudikoff, I can't remember if by this time he's remembered who he is, or is that just to come? But he's got the ninja gear on and he's already in stealth mode, which I'm assuming he just carried with him wherever he went, even though he didn't remember who he was. Or is he the guy wearing the stealth gear?
I say we got to get near the third act here anyway. That's usually when most of them do.
We're getting closer. As I say, I did compress these into like one image out of every 25 or something, so we're missing a lot of.
It's been like 30 years since I've seen this movie, but
I've seen it 3 times this week.
Speaking of the value models, the Ben Kingsley value model.
Ben Kingsley, cheap Ben, sorry.
Asian Ben Kingsley.
Oh, but Gandhi, Mr. Gandhi.
Gandhi from Wish.com.
I don't know any Peppa, but I can teach you some ninja.
This guy's more Indira Gandhi than Mahatma.
All right.
But yeah, this is his long lost Japanese that didn't know the war was over dad.
Yeah.
Who suddenly appears by magic.
Yeah.
To remind him of his past. Here we go. Oh, I remember now. I used to live in the jungle.
Oh, Jesus.
And I've got all these weapons. Weapons.
That of all the things that you've shown tonight, that'd probably be the one thing that get us in trouble. You know that?
What, the weapons?
No, the kid dead. The dead kid.
Oh, the kid. Yeah. Well, we skipped that in we skipped that in Revenge.
I don't know if we saw it in the Revenge.
No, we skipped it. Yeah. There's discount Alec Baldwin.
There's something odd about seeing a man reclining in a lounge chair in full ninja gear, like in lawn furniture. Like
supposed to be
it's like the ninja equivalent of business casual.
Ninjas never sit down. It's weakness.
And this chick, I don't know who she is.
The Ninja Fortress, no big deal.
Yeah.
But this chick looks like so generic 1980s, action chick.
He does have he stares well though. And
he's got the eyebrows, that helps.
He does. If his eyebrows are pointing down a bit, he's a villain.
Well, that's actually Dudikoff, you could tell there.
Yeah. Steve James handling that weapon. That's awesome. I think he does more of the martial arts in the second and third ones. But here he's more gun oriented, but he's still was this where he shreds the guy's groin?
Oh yeah, he obliterates that guy's crotch.
That's right. He just obliterates the crotch. Gender check. one of the best scenes in all these movies.
Well, no, that guy laying on the ground there, he's been in a lot of action films. I'm trying to think of his name.
Yeah.
The big beefy dude.
Just look it up under guy on ground.
I know, right? Like, that's the problem.
Now, this thing here, I mean, is that really a ninja weapon?
Yes. Yeah. Dude, no. Ninjas would just, if there was a handgun handy, they would use a handgun.
Because that was
I'm trying to think specifically, though, is that a real thing? I don't know.
No.
Well, according to Assassin's Creed, it was.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, one thing they don't use in this a lot is poison, whereas ninjas did lose.
Because, I was going to say, they used to use a lot of darts, and, you had the blow darts and stuff like that, but I don't know about, but I mean, Razor's right. If you could have devised something like that, they totally would have used it. But, yeah. I just don't know if it's actually based on any actual thing or not.
I don't know. Given the Cannon Films budget, I think the poison was catering, actually.
Yeah, don't eat the shellfish.
Eat snake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now we've got the helicopter.
Oh, is this where American Ninja defeats a helicopter?
Yes.
Yes.
He opens the door, punches the guy on the other side, and jumps out with her and saves her. And then Steve James rocket launchers the shit out of it.
Yeah,
you're not even kidding.
Chopper.
Yeah.
I love it.
And they all lived happily ever after until American Ninja 2.
I know.
which I think we're probably going to leave for another time. We've got the others lined up, but everyone's. I think we've done 2 of ours. But
right there, Razor. That's not his stewing face anymore. That's his happy, content face there. See?
Right.
His success face.
He's smoldering at the sunrise.
David Dudikoff is literally just like the prototype for Derek Zoolander.
Yeah.
So, I think what we'll do is because I've got a lot of material for the others, we can save that for another show.
Oh, Zoolander wishes he was Dudikoff.
Yeah, but that was the first one, and it made about $13 million on a budget of $1 million.
Yeah.
And so, very sensibly, what Cannon did next time was cut the budget in half, or by a third. Isn't that right, Austin?
Yeah, they probably didn't even spend a full $1 million. That's probably what they told their buyers.
Yeah. And America, it's a great movie, though. I do love American Ninja.
No, I mean, it could be argued that if Cannon had kept going down this road, they'd have been probably still around to this day, right?
Yeah.
What killed them was the Stallone business, Superman, and Masters of the Universe. Those things compounded with them deciding to go from because their idea used to be, why should I spend $30 million on a movie when I can make 30 movies for $1 million each?
Yeah.
Right. Instead, they were the guys spending $30 million by the time 1987, 88, 9.
And they could have kept just doing the low budget stuff and like Blumhouse or somebody today and always making money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they banked too much on Stallone, and then they tried to compete with the big boys, and it just and a lot of that money got laundered too.
Banking on Stallone wasn't the problem. They banked on bad Stallone.
Right. Over the
it
top.
Wasn't like
well,
Rocky.
that's the thing is, Over the Top was a bad choice of a film for everybody on every level. There, it was.
I like that movie.
I like it, but at the time, it was the wrong move for everybody. And it's not like you can't blame anybody. Like, they got behind the movie, they spent a shit ton of money on it. It was one of the most expensive Stallone films at that time. He made like $12 million. Like, it's crazy.
I think Tom prefers Under the Bottom as opposed to Over the Top.
No, I like the film in retrospect. I think it's aged well, but like, you look back at it at the time and you can see why it was a disappointment at that era.
So we'll just wrap up by having
the highest paid performance for any actor.
Was that Austin?
Sorry, Austin, you're roboting a bit.
Apologies. Go on.
No.
Made Stallone the highest paid actor for Over the Top.
We didn't hear a thing you said.
So Stallone's highest, he was like $8 million or something. Did he get for that? Or
it was I thought it was like 10 or 12, but
yeah.
It was big, and I mean, you could have made 10 American Ninjas for that, and people would have kicked ass. So
that was my point. Yeah.
So Ninja 2, I like Ninja 2 as well. It's great. I think the two of them work.
I like the confrontation subtitle. Like like you're expecting a non-confrontational ninja movie.
Ninja 2, the negotiation.
Right.
In case you're curious, there is a confrontation in this one.
But the two of them really
Another
worked out well.
It's like a combo between Corey Haim and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I prefer my ninja movies passive. I don't know about you.
But there's a few things about this movie before we wrap up, which I want to. They've got the ninja replicator because ninjas appear out of everywhere, like every orifice. There's a ninja to fight you. The Armstrong and Jackson are now the Army's official anti-ninja task force.
I wish we really had those.
That's right. The ninjas are so bad a problem. The Army has an official division.
Yes.
Yeah, what did you do in the military? I was the anti-ninja guy.
Anti-ninja. And they've got a science fiction vibe that enters them now with a sort of weird science thing going on with a lab of super soldiers and colored liquids and test tubes, which is always a canon thing.
Well, even though Kill Bill was kind of paying more homage to spaghetti westerns and the kung fu, Bruce Lee films, I can't help but feel like the Crazy 88 scene isn't inspired partially on the whole, ninja factory idea that we keep talking about, where, there's just endless ninjas. Like they just keep coming and coming
where
and coming.
Are they coming from on the beach scene in the third one? Where the hell are they coming from? Is it just an endless supply?
This should have been the first G.I. Joe movie.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah.
A lot of it. There's a lot of G.I. Joe in this and in Enter the Ninja, honestly. There's a lot of it. Like I don't think G.I. Joe happens without all these canon films.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. But
they do seem very synonymous with each other.
Or the 80s version of G.I. Joe, I should say, because G.I. Joe had been around for decades, but like that incarnation of G.I. Joe, I don't
The thing I got excited about when I first saw this was I saw in the box it said music by George S. Clinton. I thought Parliament Funkadelic. This is going to be really good.
It's kind of like when
Powers George S. Clinton, the other one.
I feel like the Mad Max films do the same thing with Brian May. It's like the guy from Queen.
He did the music, awesome.
No, it's just
I felt so robbed.
Right, it's just some Australian guy. Fuck.
But yeah, they went for a science fiction vibe on this, and it was pretty good. I mean, Steve James gets some good stuff in these, and then the third one, of course, it's Bradley and him, and it's basically the opening of the first movie with some of the second movie added on the end, plot wise, because you get the origin story all over again.
Now on video cassette. That's exactly what I was talking about. That means that they did this in at least a limited run somewhere.
Yeah, and different director with Sundstrom, and again, Steve James gets some really great sort of swooshing.
I dig the silhouette of the ninja like doing a kick flip on an invisible skateboard there in the back. What is he doing?
Or is that a laser beam? I thought he was jumping over a laser beam, but
it's like a half pipe. I don't know.
Or somebody's trying to laser beam the sun, or is the laser beam shooting from the sun?
American Ninja 6, Gleaming the Cube.
I just wanted Gleaming the Cube. Joe was here and had to drop out. My apologies, Joe. I missed you slipping out, but thank you for being here, my friend.
Yes.
Don't worry about tips. If that doesn't work, it's not what we're here for. We're here for the fun, and I really appreciate you joining. Thanks, mate. We'll see you next.
No, but I
stream.
think you're right on the next time when we do this, because just picking a genre is way too broad for canon.
It's broad.
Like, because they could put out 30 fucking ninja movies in a year. So.
Yeah, but
so I think you're right. We gotta kind of stick with like an actor or a director or something in the future.
Narrowing it down,
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Canon's kind of a misnomer. They were kind of the cinematic version of a machine gun.
Yeah, but the this has got a 3.7 out of 10 rating on IMDb, by the way.
Which means it's excellent.
Which means it earned every goddamn one of those points too.
Goddamn review bombs in the 80s.
And the villain was named after an animal, like the previous one, the lion. This is the cobra.
Nice.
So, I like
Have
that.
you ever thought of doing Trauma? Is that on your list ever? Because the B movie kind of thing. Trauma movies?
Well, not if they're canon movies, yeah. Like canon.
Are there? Oh, I did not know there were crossover.
No, I don't think there is any.
I don't think they did, but we might get there one day. I mean, there's so much material.
I didn't
canon.
mean, I didn't mean right now. I was just suggesting for the future because these remind me of like another type of,
Well, my suggested title for this was the Canon Movie Club. By the way,
I have a funny story about Trauma. The guy, what's his name? Lloyd Kaufman.
Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah. I was working at a comic store here in Phoenix. Of course, Lloyd Kaufman, I believe, lives in Phoenix. And he walked in the front door. I didn't even know him or anything. and he just has an armload of DVDs, and he just walks up to the counter and goes, "Sell these," and then just walks out. And my manager is like, what was Lloyd Kaufman doing here? I'm like, who's Lloyd Kaufman? He's like, it's a guy from Troma. And we look at the DVDs and it's all Troma movies. He's got like the top box and fucking, he just plops a bunch of Troma movies on the counter and tells us to sell. So we did.
That is one of the most Lloyd Kaufman things I've ever heard.
He didn't talk money or negotiations, just said sell them.
Unbelievable.
And you said,
Fuck you! I was right! Fuck you! I was right! Fuck you! I was right!
Did he ever show back up to see how many you
couldn't do the
sold?
show without doing that. I'm sorry, Rachel. I had to do that.
Right.
Oh, by the way, before we finish up on this, I do want to play a clip from the greatest martial arts movie ever.
You have our gratitude.
I'll just leave it at that.
I would hate to have their non-gratitude there.
So American Ninja 3, yeah, I've got the Detroit one too. So.
Take him to Detroit.
No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
Yeah,
They
nobody
should have
wants to
said
go
take
to
him to
Detroit.
Flint. I'm sorry.
A Fistful of Yen, the greatest martial arts movie never made. American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt, and then there was American Ninja 4, the Return of Dudikoff, who couldn't make the other one because he was doing something. Austin.
So they had the guy from the last one with him, right? Isn't that the same guy from?
Yeah, so Bradley was in this too, but the two of them don't. It's funny because Dudikoff couldn't do the first half of the movie, so basically the plot is Bradley's in the first half, and then he gets captured by the baddies and tortured, and Dudikoff has to go rescue him, and they're only in the last 10 minutes together because of scheduling and things. Yeah, and then the fifth one. Well, it wasn't even meant to be an American.
I don't
Ninja.
even know there was an American Ninja 5, and it's got Mr. Miyagi in it.
Well, it's totally not Mr. Miyagi. It's almost completely not Mr. Miyagi. Trust me. It's just, but yeah, this was straight to video. It was made in '93. I think that, and you can tell it's got the lack of a subtitle. So it's American Ninja 5.
So this wouldn't have even been canon. This would have been 21st century, right? 93.
Still canon, but yeah. Well, actually, 21st century.
Canon.
It's 21st century era, but
which I kind of consider more the actual canon predecessor. Yeah.
But yeah, he's totally not Miyagi in this. Absolutely no way, not at all in the slightest. And
that's where Golan went off on his own.
Yeah, there's no plot connection to any of the other movies. Bradley plays a different character. And it was made in '93, so no theatrical release. And I think they just said, you know what, we'll put American Ninja on it as a title because we're fucked anyway as a company, so why not?
Yeah, and they put it out in 1995. Like that tells you how late.
Yeah.
Wow.
So filmed in '93, didn't come out for 2 years. Gotcha.
Yeah. And there was a couple that weren't ninja movies, but they're important because there was American Samurai. Which Bradley did,
so a spin-off sequel.
Yes. And the other one, I think that was, we mentioned it as well earlier, was Avenging Force. Purely, I like this purely because it's James and Dudikoff again. It's not a bad movie, actually. I quite like this.
Well, it's a sequel to Invasion USA, but he's been recast as Chuck Norris's part, basically.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good movie. I quite like that one.
Oh yeah, Gold Dukat's in it as a mask-wearing ninja with a fucking katana.
There's a ninja, but so that was our ninja show for today, everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yes.
Just before we wrap up, I
just want to thank Austin and Razorfist again for
that's
showing
what I
up.
wanted to do. So Razor. I really appreciate you being here, buddy. It's so great to do this with you. The Long Moonlight, obviously, current book that's out,
which is about a ninja.
Death Mask 2 can be ordered now. It can be purchased now. I did put all the links in the description. Are you, I mean, in terms of your process, are you already working on book 3?
Yeah, and a little short story on the side. So.
Yeah, cool, nice. I'm looking forward to getting this, mate. This will be the unsigned one. I'll have to, if you go to a meetup, I'll have to get you to sign it for me. Just wanted to ask you if there's anything else that you would like to promote right now, sir.
No, thank you for having me. I'm always willing to talk about canon films. I mean, I've been I guess if I could promote anything, it would be Rageaholic Cinema, because I talk about pretty much all the movies we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It's basically a series where I just review Canon, Orion, all those shit, Vestron Video, like all those straight to video and barely theatrical released testosterokinetic 80s action movies. That's essentially all I do on that series, and I've done quite a few of them, and I'll be doing quite a few more in the future.
Cool.
Do you do music stuff ever?
I do Metal Mythos, yeah.
He does do Metal Mythos.
That is what I heard. Okay, I need to find your channel then.
Well, I could show you on screen. I'm sure the links are in the description.
Which I am going to be doing a follow-up to my Danzig episode with a member of Danzig who has not been in public in a long, long time.
Nice.
To be doing like a follow-up interview for that.
So this Rageaholic channel, also Twitter and Steam links are in the description for everybody. Yeah, I'm still waiting for your Metal Mythos on the Beatles, though.
You had to go there. You had to go there.
I follow you on Twitter, so I've been paying attention.
I have learned if I like something that Razor doesn't, you just don't bring it up.
Yeah.
Cool. What about Slayer?
I haven't done an episode on the only thrash band that I've covered on Metal Mythos has been a band by the name of Razor, appropriately enough, from Canada. Really good band.
Motorhead, Motley Crue.
I did Motorhead, not Motley Crue yet, but I have done. Gosh, I've done Priest, Maiden, Motorhead, except I mean, the list goes on. Saxon. It's just I've done a lot of it.
Yeah. You got to do Motley Crue.
I would like to do Motley Crue, but the problem is how to review a band that has 2 good albums and then a bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
Only the first 2 albums you do.
Not the same way I did Iron Maiden.
Yeah, well, we must all coincide on a metal stream someday, because I've done a few, Pope and I've done some, Imperitus, and I think we could probably have some kind of metal summit eventually. But yeah, go check. I mean, for those few people that haven't subscribed to Razor, please go check him out. He's one of the guys, when I first started watching YouTube, long before I streamed, was one of the guys I really got into. So thank you, Razor, for all that great material and inspiration you've given me. Appreciate it, mate. But also with us today was Austin, and Austin is still here. Thank God. I thought you maybe. Thank God he's not left us yet. So I'm just going to call up for purposes the Canon Film Guides. So you do have a website. And there you go. If I can get that on screen. So Canon Film Guides 1 and 2 are available, both hard copy and Kindle. Yeah, these are great books, everybody. I mean, Austin, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was fun. I mean, I love talking ninja movies.
Yeah, I've learned so much from reading those 2 books and laughed aloud, which really disturbs my wife as I'm reading them in bed and she's asleep. I laugh out loud at some of the things you've said. Appreciate those books very much. Looking forward to the 3rd one. What else are you up to at the moment, though, Austin? Like to talk about?
This eats my time. Like, this is what I'm fully focused on, really. But I'm on Twitter. All the stuff that doesn't fit in the books. There's all the things I come across, all sorts of canon trivia, pieces from my collection I'm always sharing on there. So
he's always posting really cool stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Before you go, I have to ask, is the greatest Menachem Golan story ever the clip of him from the Electric Boogaloo documentary where somebody is pitching him a movie and they're like, all right, so here's the idea. And you can hear it over speakerphone, right? The guy's like, okay, Chuck Norris, roundhouse kicks, explosions, machine guns, and Menachem cuts him off and goes, "Bring me the script."
They used to say if you could get a meeting with Menachem, you get greenlit. It's just a matter of like finding him actually in his office because he was off making God knows how many movies at a time.
Incredible.
But the guy was, we can say a lot of things about him, but when he heard an idea he liked, he was all over it. And that was fun, yeah. And there's the Canon Film Guide Twitter. It's links in the description again at Canon Film Guide. And please, I urge everyone to get the books because they're freaking awesome. So entertaining.
As you can see there, he just recently posted some stuff from Spider-Man and all that business. Yeah. What'd you have there? Sorry, Austin.
Oh, I just said, there's a lot to these books.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Nice.
First 2 volumes are about almost 1,700 pages just in those 2. So.
And don't forget, obviously, Razorfist Twitter as well.
Sweet.
Follow those ones, guys. And
I was already subbed to you, Razorfist. I just didn't see the metal part.
I'm hoping Razor will let me DM him one of these days. But, just saying, But anyway, thank you, gentlemen. This has been a pleasure. I'd just like to give everybody else though a quick chance to plug what's going on with their channels. So let me hide that. Tom, my friend, obviously you do just about everything at all times for everybody. So what do you got going on?
Oh, it's hard to say. Well, you'll find me next, but I'll probably be on Meet at some point tomorrow. If not, you can always find me on Midnight's Edge in the morning and stuff like that. So
cool.
You see me roaming around.
Roman. And it's Midnight's Edge after dark tomorrow and on Thursday, and we will pop in there. Thank you for having me on that. I appreciate that.
Of course.
It's great. Thank you for everything you've done today, Tom, with setting this up and helping out. Really appreciate it, mate. And now I've got to figure out how to make you small again. There we go. We'll start from the top then. Imperitus, my friend, you've been reticent and quiet, but what are you up to these days?
Not a whole lot. Working on a few more album reviews, leaning a bit more into doing some gaming content. And I blame Razorfist for that aspect of things. Sorry, bud. I got some people. I'm trying to convince people to play Hunt Showdown at the moment, and it's almost like pulling teeth.
Right. Well, it's more fun to play solo, anyways.
You think so?
Absolutely. I play it solo like 99% of the time.
Cool. Well, that's
Wouldn't be surprised if you shot me in the head a couple times then.
Probably a lot of times.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, thanks for being here, mate. Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
And,
pleasure as always.
Pope, mate, what you got going on?
Well, thanks for having me on as always, Razor. Always good to talk to you. Currently, I'm going to be on Vets Talking tomorrow, Comics Division. We are going to be talking, about the week's events with a couple of veteran friends of mine. And then you can always find me every week or every Sunday at 4 for Rock and Roll Religion, my show, where this week I think we're going to be going over Rainbow and the Dio era of that, which, some classic metal. Absolutely great stuff.
I'll be there, buddy.
Enjoying doing the research for that more than I probably should be. In fact, interfered with me watching some of the movies for this one. But no, other than that, I'm starting to get my Rumble channel set up. I have the numbers to do live streams over there, so I'm going to be doing more content over there. I'm going to be streaming Hogwarts Legacy when it comes out because apparently that'll get you canceled. So let's do it.
All right.
And then, and especially it comes out on my birthday, so I got to do it.
Yeah, but the joke's on you. You'll still be playing a Harry Potter game.
Yeah, that's true. But, exactly. we suffer for our art.
Much as I want you to support it, I'm not going there. It's Harry Potter. Not a big fan. So, John, mate, what are you up to these days?
On my channel every Tuesday. Tomorrow you get more Godzilla. And you can always find me on Pop Culture Minefield and on YouTube and KGR Digital Broadcasting now. So we're actually spreading out. So that's Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and then at 1 p.m. Central, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll be on a couple of those shows with you as and when. So always good to hang out with you, mate. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
And we cannot forget our dear friend Courtney. You're just heading off. Hey, you're heading off to something shortly, aren't you? Another show?
Yes. So tonight on my channel, which is Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs, and the link should be in the chat. I'm doing something a little different than I usually do. It's just going to be me and Pete from Creepy Little Book, and I'm going to try and stump the wizard, his knowledge of everything bizarre and weird in the world and universe. And then Friday nights, 12:30 a.m. Eastern time, and that's 10 p.m. Eastern time tonight also. Friday nights every Friday, 12:30, I do Late Night Johns, and that's just a crap shoot. I freestyle rap. I have a puppet, and I just make an ass of myself. So,
nice. You do not make an ass of yourself, lass.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
brilliant.
I do.
You're brilliant. Did I forget anybody? No. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
So thanks for being here, lass. Always good to see you. Appreciate it very much. As for me, I humbly thank Razor, Tom, and Austin for being special guests. It means a lot to me. Thanks, guys, for being here. Appreciate it very much. And thank you to the rest of my loyal and lovely panel who are always here with me.
You're the number one YouTuber in my book.
Oh, thanks.
Someone else.
One's doing one's humble best. We're having fun, and that's what it's all about. I like to talk about the things I like, not the things I don't like. So, to the chat. Well, first of all, to the mods, Lord Thoth, Sentient Dildo, and the other mods in the chat. Courtney, you've been doing some stuff. I noticed, and everybody else that's been modding. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I know you guys are super busy and modding a lot of stuff, so thanks for helping me out with that. And thank you to everybody else in the chat. It really is so many people here today. I didn't get the chance to speak to everybody individually or call them out, but you're all great. A lot of you have been here many times and the supporters of the channel, and I really do appreciate that. And thank you to everybody that's popped in that's new. Hopefully you'll stick around for some of the other stuff we do. Subscribe and like and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you're coming up on 1K. I just want to tell everybody, if you're not subbed, make sure you sub. He's getting closer and closer.
874. No, not bad, you know. It's not about that monetization thing. For me, it's about validation that we're doing something that's good, and I want to keep doing that stuff, and people like it, and grow that. I won't be doing a show next Monday. I got to take, for personal reasons, got to take Monday off next week. So there'll be no show next week. I will be putting a few videos out during the next 2 weeks. So I've been overlooking that side of things. I got some music videos I want to do, underlooked bands about the thing, a video about The Move, the band The Move, stuff like that. But I will be popping up on other shows like Midnight Edge After Dark and a couple of other things. So watch out for that. And Saturday night, 10 p.m. Mountain Time, Brahma Bull and I do our bourbon and boarding show on hockey. So check that out as well. But yeah, that's it for me and for everybody. Once again, super thanks to everyone for being here. I think Razor's dropped out, but thank you again, Razor, for being here. Austin, it was fucking awesome to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Tom, it's always awesome to meet you again. Yeah, Austin, your books, I've laughed so much reading them. It's so great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate hearing that.
You've got a very sardonic style. I love it.
Thanks.
So we'll kick off now. What I wanted to do before we leave is, just for those who didn't see it at the beginning of the show, I'm going to play the opening montage again because I just like it so much, and then we'll end the show. So until next time, stay well, everybody, and keep on rocking, and we'll see you again soon. So good night.